Here, we do what others don't.
Dream what others won't, driven to leap forward, determined to always give back.
Here, we work where giants have played, where the connection of work and ethic is made.
A diverse community possessed with a passion
To know and grow and go and show the world we are prepared to change it. Here, we ask what must be done, for in doing we learn and earn success.
and you can get there from here.
DePaul University. Here, we do.
What is going on, all you goblins, gamers, and goofballs, and welcome back to EGFC Overwatch 2. We are kicking things off strong with our first of 3 series here tonight. University of Tennessee Knoxville up against DePaul University. Salty, both these teams coming in with a lot to prove.
Definitely a lot to prove. Tennessee, they lose their first game of the season last week to a Delaware squad where we said at the first game of the spring split, they're looking like a very hot team, and they showed it last week over on the main stream. DePaul's an interesting one because at least as of recent, they've had better form. They had a very rough fall, but it seems like they're starting to at least get their feet underneath them, and maybe they can pull an upset win here tonight.
Yeah, and we've got to talk about the fact the meta has absolutely shifted, possibly the most since the release of Overwatch 2. That might be a hot take, but I feel like it's a pretty aggressive meta change, as we've seen in a couple teams who were doing poorly, came out with the Wrecking Ball and are tearing opponents limb from limb. There's a very real possibility of this being a DePaul comeback, reverse sweep, whatever you want to call it, you know, coming out of the wings, the dark horse. That's the phrase I'm trying to use. DePaul being the dark horse in this race, but University of Tennessee Knoxville, this team, I mean, they are brutal, Salty. They had their first loss in the entire season last week. You've got to assume that's going to light an insane fire underneath them.
Oh, you got to think they are just burning to get a quick little 3-0 and be like, yeah, we're back. Like, last week was maybe just a fluke, and honestly, again, Delaware is a top 3 team.
Yep.
Honestly, Tennessee is a top 3 team. So when you have a game like that going in a 3-1 fashion, I think a lot of it is the fact that that was a game very quickly after that balance change came through. Not a lot of preparation time
2 days,
for either
right?
squad. Yeah, it was only a 2-day turnaround. So I am not overly shocked that we saw a result like that. I didn't know which way it was going to go, admittedly, kind of going into that. But for DePaul, just again, throw some stuff. See what worked throughout this week. Honestly, there's so much you can make work. We even saw like Marquette last week, who as a team did not play well at all during fall. They get somebody to come in, they settle in on a starting 5, and they just did extremely well last week. We'll see them at the very end of the day today against RIT, but I'm curious to see if DePaul will try and run something very similar, and at least so far running that Wrecking Ball for both sides.
Yeah, University of Tennessee bringing out a really classic meta, one that I assume we're going to be seeing. They've got the Sombra coming out the gate immediately. They're reading the Wrecking Ball. Very intelligent Sombra. She got nerfed in a few ways. A recent buff makes her health packs hack for 15 seconds longer, and Tennessee Knoxville going to rely on that a lot, I'm sure, to keep this Wrecking Ball alive. The Zen Discord Orb going to come in handy for Tennessee. Notice DePaul doesn't have one, so their damage output going to be a little bit slower. Ducksta grabbing a lot of information. I like what we're seeing from DePaul. Rotation onto high ground. Very simple, yet incredibly effective play. Lemothy wants to beat it up high, goes in fast, the whip shot takes him down, can't find the lineup, loses the high ground advantage, and Power Revere, the first to fall. Noodles deleted. The support lineup for Tennessee is already gone, and DePaul should have this first fight win in the bag. This is what I wanted to see from DePaul. They've got a lot to prove.
So much to prove for the Blue Demons, and already able to cap first noob as well. Gets a nice little stagger on the Ducksta. And a lot of it, that fight, Lemothy just couldn't get on the high ground. Like, they just got a little bit too short. So throughout that entire time, it's a 45 on high ground, and better sustain for DePaul leads to that win. And now they can just set up however they like.
I mean, Salty, it's a fight separated by seconds. It really is. The 2 seconds Lemothy couldn't get onto the high ground. Okay, goodbye Paravir. They're not able to keep him alive. They lose it. Rig can't heal nearly enough to keep herself or teammates up and running. Noodles fell and it turned to disaster. It looks like the same strategy coming through from Tennessee. They want to remove the Brig early. Down to 55 HP. New first one to bite the bullet. Obscure not far behind. 5v3 in favor of Tennessee, and they should have this fight in the bag unless we get an insane turnaround. Lemothy 2K might be able to make it 3, and they certainly will. Here's Tennessee with that point flip. 40% for DePaul. That's not bad.
Not a bad first little take there for DePaul. You get it to 40%, and at least you win that first fight, and you honestly delay the capture by a good 10% here for the Volunteers. Now, Tennessee trying to figure out how they want to set up as noob. You see them just bottom left of your screen there for a brief second, trying to figure out how they want to engage.
engagement in hand are going to be
There we
difficult,
go.
but it becomes that much easier when you remove somebody from the fight. Duels has fallen. Faravir takes a lot of damage from the pulse bomb. He can't heal up in time. Does not have the Transcendence online either. Tennessee, this is a very high damage composition, but when your Zenyatta's getting bullied every single fight, they're not able to farm that Transcendence at all. Speaking of EMP, even that ult isn't online yet. Sombra does not do a lot of damage. A lot of her versatility comes from her fast charging ult, and when it's taking you 3 to 5 minutes to farm one EMP, you've got to wonder if there's better value elsewhere.
You gotta think it's at least around, and on paper it's like, oh, you know, it should have help to deal with the Tracer. It should help to deal with Zap.
Right.
But honestly, with the new nerf that came in for her, if you hack a target, you can't hack at least that specific target again for another 8 seconds.
8 seconds!
It is a really rough to focus down a single target.
Ooh, okay, the team is there to focus down that one, and Sombra is able to find that melee kill early. You've made it a 5v4, 5v3 now as DePaul loses their entire DPS lineup. They've got the Kitsune Rush online. I'd like to see it if I'm being honest, but instead it's the Rally that comes out and really should not have. That is the opposite of what I wanted to see. I think Kitsune gives you a lot of value to stall and to keep your team up, when Rally takes a lot more time to do the same thing.
Rally honestly is more better now. It's like, hey, if they're getting ready to engage, or if you are getting ready to engage,
yes,
pop it then, so you have it throughout the entirety of the fight. You have that armor building up throughout that engagement, so it just helps with the sustain. It keeps everybody up to try and get that early pick. But now Tennessee able to lock on the high ground with the Rally of their own still in their pocket.
It's important to note, Rally as we know it won't be around for much longer, but we can talk about that a little more during the break. Duck Stuff, 3-piece with the help of Paravir's Discord Orb, University of Tennessee, 3 ultimates for what could possibly be the final fight. Gonna get ready to answer 3 from the side of DePaul. You've got to assume they're holding this Transcendence I want to talk about for that visor, right? But with a Pulse Bomb and a Kitsune in the wings, Transcendence is probably only going to stall out one of those.
They'll probably just use it as soon as they hear one of them go off, or unless they miss the Pulse Bomb. But
sure,
Noob was able to hit it last time and able to sneak around to that high ground. Duck's just trying to look for him now.
Oh, and Hydra already going to be falling. They popped the Rally instead of Transcendence. Not a play I'm a big fan of. That hack only keeps it down for a second. That is not enough time to melt somebody down if you're only the Sombra on the engagement. The supportal combat on the high ground gets Noob and Zep out of the equation, forces the remaining members of DePaul to hold that S key. Still can't make it away with the speed Tennessee brings to the table. It was a call I'm not super fond of, Salty, but it looks like it worked.
They were able to make it work in the end. Overtime is triggered because of being at 97%, and at least DePaul able to push on in with Kitsune.
What's Kitsune gonna Kitsune going into this matchup here? DePaul, they have cooldown reduction, they have a small speed advantage, and it's still not enough to get out of the way of Hydra. It's like you cut one head of Tennessee off and 5 more appear. Here comes Blamity trying to farm that minefield as well. Hydra's 3K, has to seal the deal though. Soldier, last one standing, bullied away from sight, and with a 100 to 93%, Tennessee does still win that first stage.
Tennessee, a little bit of a slow start, and I at least like to see the fight DePaul is giving up. But I do think that the Soldier A is just not getting the value that they really needed to get right now. That could change though in City Center, a lot more high ground orientated. So whether they stay on the Cassidy now or if they swap to a different hit scan, it at least makes more sense on paper, them trying to go that route. But honestly, Tennessee, as soon as they started to get that rotation down, felt like they could honestly do anything they really wanted. And Hydra, as you said, is just wreaking havoc everywhere they go, dealing with Noob as well, who had a good start to the round, but kind of fizzled out.
Yeah, University of Tennessee just went for a sim TP strat, then for Hydra a little late into the fight, and DePaul defaulting now possibly into things that are just a little more comfortable for the composition. I like the Cassidy, going to be a great counter to Tracer, Torbjorn as well, and Zep on the Sigma. This is going to be a tough one because the team is going to continuously run right through your shield, and the shield is where Sigma gets a lot of his survivability. If Tennessee continues this 200% speed, fast pace against DePaul, this tank may really be lackluster against them.
He is more set up to, once they capture point where they want to set up play defensively, going in here when Tennessee has high ground could be a big issue.
Tennessee's high ground advantage. Now this is going to be interesting because both teams are going to have to poke out of their comfort zone a little bit to get into the combat. There's that huge pillar in the center, and as the game dictates, somebody must cap point eventually. Paravir, a great old fire, trying to get that turret down, but it's Blamity that falls in its place. Datsun, though, is able to find that first pick in favor of DePaul. First point cap online, and this is just like stage number 1. They get the first fight, but they lost the ones that mattered most.
Yeah, so now it'll be, okay, can you actually win this next fight? Because if you can win this next one, then you can start rotating those ultimates to at least force Tennessee to use more themselves.
Yeah.
As Paravir and Noodles, they just have high ground for free.
High ground for free is not exactly what you want to be seeing on the side of DePaul, but it's not exactly working out either for Tennessee, because where DePaul is bunkered up right now, the high ground is almost essentially null and void. The action is not there for an initial cleanup. You have to jump off the high ground to heal your team. An amazing pulse bomb gets both DPS out of the fight. There goes the turret and the brig, probably not far behind. Cheap Balls Hydra back online and tearing this team apart. Flamethy's able to find that support, and Zeph, last one standing, can't win that fight alone. 42%, 2% more than we saw back on Garden.
But again, it's all right. You win that first fight, not able to win the second. Now the ult advantage, I would say, is somewhat in the favor of Tennessee at this point in time, because you have that EMP very close to ready. All you need really is one hack and some damage to go with 3, and they'll have that ready to go. And watch that, honestly, if they need to, just a solo ult to cancel out the Gravitic Flux.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly really valid. I assume in this composition, Transcendence is going to be saved for that Gravitic Flux. I don't think you use it for high noon, but when there's nobody to use Gravitic Flux, maybe you're a little more willing to pop it out early. Hydra will be traded. It's a tank for a DPS. EMP picks up 2 in the back line, but Noob already finding 2 of their own. It's a trade once again as Flamethy takes that Torbjorn offline. Here comes a rush down out of the Kiriko. And I like a lot that strategy from Flamethy, but when you have no one to pocket you, it's a really tough spot to be in. High noon pulled way too early. Plenty of HP online. Amazing shot from Noob. Puts Noodles out of the fray and keeps Tennessee on the back foot. The problem is, Tennessee's got the point this entire time. They're all about stalling and stalling. They shall continue to do. Transcendence out just to stall is an incredible choice and a very risky one, because now that Flux can be free for DePaul, but Tennessee, they have bought themselves an additional 20 to 30, maybe even 40% if they can keep this aggression against DePaul's lineup.
And they should be able to as well. You force out both DPS ultimates, neither of them get anything. And even though the Torb on paper, yes, it should help with Duckstay, it should help with Hydra when they're on these constant flanks, the turret's just getting broken immediately that they honestly can't even capitalize on that small amount of damage that the turret is able to put out and the positioning that it gives away. And now, able to have pile drive and another pulse ready to go.
Another pulse bomb online. This one's going to be a little less lackluster, or a little more lackluster than the previous, but Flamethy, absolute cleanup through a one-man wrecking ball out there, finds a double kill, puts Tennessee in a very comfortable spot to most likely win map number 1. Only 4 seconds left. DePaul all caught in the spawn room. That is Tennessee winning Oasis 2-0.
Definitely making the second round look a little bit cleaner from the Volunteers. As I think, especially on that one, it's more just a composition difference. DePaul want to play that extremely slow, want to slowly pick away, say who's out of position, try and have your DPS flank, but other than that, trying to just slowly move on forward and take the space. And Tennessee did not give you that opportunity. They were always in your face with the pile drives and the hacks. You have the DPS line, especially Hydra, always finishing up those pile drives. It was perfect execution from a Tennessee squad that did not look as confident last week.
Without a doubt. Tennessee, they're one of my favorite teams for a myriad of reasons, but a big part of the reasons I've always enjoyed them is that speed. No matter what the meta is, no matter what composition they should be running, they are constantly at 150% without a Lucio. This team, not notorious for running Lucio. I feel like we don't see that particularly often. It never ceases to amaze me what Tennessee is able to get done, playing things a little different than a lot of other teams are going to be able to. And we jumped into map 1 really quickly, so I want to see if we can jump to the map pool now and kind of give you guys a taste of what the rest of the day is going to look like. We'll see this map pool for all 3 sets tonight. Oasis down and out. Blizzard World coming up next. Esperanza as our push map. And then Dorado and Ilios to clean things up. So, Salty, I'll kill the joke here. Everybody knows I'm not a huge fan of push, but other than Esperanza, these other 4 maps, I really enjoy. I think we could have a really fun day ahead of us.
Especially due to the fact that Blizzard World just got entered into the competitive rotation again, and not a lot of teams have scrimmed it. You aren't getting very much practice in it in the competitive ladder, or at least until as of, 9 days ago now you can. So it is a little bit rough, I think, for some teams to try and get used to this map again that is so unique. It's where this opening point especially, there's so many places where you can hold. And there's so many different places, especially for even a Widowmaker. It's such a long sight line. We could see it tonight. We'll have to wait and see if we actually do. I want to see DePaul get a little more aggressive. They always seem to be a little more passive in their play calls and their positioning. So I want to see them be a little more aggressive in that direction. And you have to shut down Hydra, because Hydra, after the first, 2 minutes where it's like, okay, DePaul was winning a little bit of the Tracer duel up to that point. it was all Hydra.
Yes.
The sticks always coming through. I think they only missed like one stick throughout that entire time, and it still dispossessed the Brig. Were they able to finish them off? So definitely a game of, hey, we need to shut down Hydra to at least give us a chance.
And it really goes back to the swaps we saw from DePaul. I really like the Torb. I really like the cast.
Yeah.
Sigma, nah,
It was a weird pick.
maybe bringing Orisa to the table. Ramatra can both do really well here. I think Orisa is very strong at interrupting anything Ball tries to do. Sombra could work really well as well. We saw Tennessee try to run that. They were able to make it work with a couple of bumps in the road. But back to your point, Salty, that you highlighted something very important here. DePaul is playing a very passive game. The things they're doing worked great after you capped the point. They were doing them before capping, or when they didn't have the point, and that's not a situation in which you're going to be able to do that. Setting up that little cubby by Mega near the cars on second point, genius. A phenomenal strategy. I really liked it. You just did it too early. You didn't have the point presence you needed to get that value there, and hopefully DePaul's able to learn from that. I know that they're taking a little break here. I think we've got a tech issue from one of the teams, but that's no problem, because I feel like we do really have a lot to talk about from what we saw. Tennessee, they fell a little short at the beginning. 93 to 100 is not what you expect from a top 3 team against a team that's 2-7. But they changed a couple of things up. They brushed on it, and a couple of composition changes later, this team's all over it.
Yeah, honestly, I think it just took them a little bit to warm up. And I will say, only because I have some friends on Tennessee, they are in a tornado watch tonight.
Oh,
so
my goodness.
I know they have severe thunderstorms, so that could be potentially some of the tech issues we're having tonight. I know it's more like southwestern side of Tennessee, so I'm not sure where Knoxville is in comparison. My geography is not as great as it used to be.
Yeah,
so,
I know that, like, I live in Indiana right now, which is not super close to Tennessee, but, like, we've had some pretty terrible storms these last couple of days as well. So, Tennessee, hopefully you're not watching the stream while you're playing, but if you are, please stay safe. It's very important. Player safety is absolutely more important than the game. I think we all know that. So, Tennessee, do what you got to do, but hey, you can just make it a quick 3-0. You can get right back to that seeking shelter, you know?
Yeah, just like, need a little bit of storm watching maybe later tonight. Throw on some.
They're like, is the tornado going to be here in the next 35 minutes? If not, I will be right back.
It's on the hour. I think it's the warning goes out in like an hour or so.
I hope so.
At least from what my friend was telling me. So at least seems like they're on the better side of it now.
Good.
I know even like some schools today were like keeping and had early pickup because they're like, yeah, no, leave.
Yeah,
we don't want to worry about it. So I think they're at least out of the storm for the most part. I think we're just on the later end. So I don't know if that's the issue or not. That's my presumption. Sounds like Legacy is in for Blamothy. That's a little bit of an interesting
that screams no Wrecking Ball.
Yeah, they're definitely not playing the Wrecking Ball. I would assume
what map are we going to?
A Ramatra. Yeah, maybe Ramatra we're gonna see, or we won't see Winston Diva or Ball.
No Winston
kind of
Diva
think
Ball.
Everybody kind of falls into that, and Blamothy has been historically very good at those heroes.
This might be Sigma.
We could be seeing Sigma, which at least helps Zeph a little bit too, because they've already wanted to show it. So, okay, I could see DePaul having a chance here.
I'm thinking Sigma or Risa are, and that's not even off of Blamothy being swapped out.
And
Ram is like, he's like an honorable mention.
Yeah, like some off tanks are good. Some teams it's their main tank just because he kind of fits in the middle. So, I'm curious to see what.
There's part of me that's like, Reinhardt is not off the table. Ryan is in a spot right now where he can be played, but it's like, if you're running against Ball or Ram or Orisa, you can't Ryan. So I don't think they're swapping it exclusively Ryan. My guess is Orisa or Sigma with, like I said, kind of that third place slot going to Ram. But no Wrecking Ball is fascinating because I think Ball can really work well on this map in particular. All 3 sites have plenty of places to grapple and move very quickly to utilize your cooldowns to the best of their abilities.
Yeah, and I think it's maybe just we want to throw something different at them, knowing that Esperanza maybe not as much a Wrecking Ball map as you would have liked. So
wait,
maybe they're
hold
just
on now.
They're on attack, so they could be, you know,
just goofing.
So we'll wait a second to see what their game plan is. For DePaul, not that much of a surprise. I think the only thing that I'm a little intrigued about is Noob on the May.
Yeah,
which I think it could work if the ball is played. I don't see that being a horrendous idea.
I am personally a May believer. I think she's a very strong character right now. I think she can get a lot done, and like you said, against characters like Wrecking Ball or Reinhardt, she's incredible to counter them. She slows them down with her primary fire, she can wall them in. There's a lot of ways May can get great value. In DePaul's defense, they're definitely playing a stall-style defense. They want the turret to spy check the Tracer or the Sombra. They want the Mei to slow people down, and it's a little easier for Mei to hit a Sombra, you know, like out of hack than it may be somebody with bullets. So that might be the expected play style. However, Legacy coming in on the ball. If Tennessee wins, I can't wait to ask about this. The swap is really interesting. Lemothy, a very strong ball player, but I no offense, Legacy, please don't be upset with me. I don't know if I've seen Legacy before. This might be a first for me.
It might be one of the first games that we've seen him at least so far. Not sure if he's been getting played much, but obviously I think this is our first Tennessee game as well as we split.
Yes,
so.
that's true.
But you know, never know what the game plan has been. Hydra though taking out early here, and Tennessee just gonna settle to try and set up here over here in Costa.
Already almost a minute off the clock. DePaul 25% done with their possible win condition going into the rest of this. And University of Tennessee, I like what we're seeing off into the back line. The hack online as well, but Legacy looks the wrong way. Was not shooting at the proper target. Creeps, lives to tell the tale, gets Suzu online. That's tough. That pick would have been a free fight win, but unfortunately hindsight's 2020. A great off angle from Parvier trying to keep the brig up and running. It's all about pacing right now, and for the first time, DePaul's slow and steady play style is paying off really well.
When they're able to set up here in this defensive setup, it's been working at least a little bit better, but as we're saying, that everything starts to trouble.
Yeah, don't call it a caster curse. That Zen, though, does get taken down. The turret offline, 25% shy of that. Molten Core could be huge to get into this next fight, but if Tennessee can take 1 or 2 more eliminations before Torb can return, you can be great. Of course, Ice Block from Legacy as Noob wanted to prevent as much damage as possible. 20% shy of a Blizzard, probably not going to be in this fight. A little more likely is Noodles taken down by Zep with a rock combo. The increasing combo finds value. Creeps landing so many headshots, but no eliminations. Goodbye, Hydra. Goodbye, Tennessee's chances of winning this fight. Half the time bank missing. DePaul gotta be feeling strong about their odds right now.
They have to, because they have yet to use an ultimate as well.
Yep.
They have not had to use an ultimate. That fight goes so long. And even though, yes, they lose 1 or 2 members during the middle of that engagement, Tennessee not able to finish up the rest of the kills. And DePaul already looking better, and we've seen this team, well, already looks better than what they did against Tennessee back in, I think, week 3 of ball split.
Sure.
And we'll have to wait and see if they can equalize the series now.
I want to see an equalizer on the board. We are so close to a full-blown ult apocalypse. It would be the first one I would have seen in Overwatch 2, and I really hope we get to it, but I really feel like we're not going to. No! The Molten Core comes out. Minefield not far behind. Creeps already missing. The rally to boot. Pulse Bomb from Hydra. They're throwing everything at the wall right now. Criminal Clutch from Zep is not going to be enough. Here's a Blizzard from Noob in a desperate attempt to stall, but even the Blizzard falls a little too short. Is this going to be enough? Tennessee has emptied their arsenal, Salty. It needs to be enough, or this might be a full hold.
I cannot believe DePaul was able to scrape back from that fight. You got to think, like, Zep's at 40 health. They almost accidentally killed themselves by walking into the mines after that flux, but they're able just to stand up. A lot of it because Obscure does not die throughout that process. I don't think they've died this map yet.
Not yet.
And now one last fight. Yes, you have the EMP to try and engage your Transcendence to fall back on, but you're playing on a lot of ifs.
I mean, it is if city right now, Salty. You are so correct. The EMP has to be colossal. You have to not get taken out by the Torb turret. If you get caught by it, here's a pile driver out of the high ground. An immediate brig stun. EMP to boot. Catches 3, but it's only a second now that EMP gets value. It's just long enough for Noob to fall. Here's Transcendence coming out. A critical moment this team really needed to find early success. Rally answered by Kitsune as well. That's Zen, though, taking Hydra out of the fight. 5v4 in favor of DePaul University, and they're looking for just 1 more elimination to truly tip the scales in their favor, just like that. Noodles out of the fight. Whip shot able to take them offline. That hack does not fall through. Obscure still standing. Wants to be the most well-known player on the field. Duxta gone. Paravir gone. The chances of Tennessee showing us any more of Blizzard World just about gone. Incredible work from DePaul University. This is what I wanted to see.
When you lean into your comfort picks, it makes it work. A full hold for DePaul University. And may I say, I don't know if it was a misclick. I don't know. I'm not sure how low Legacy got. Maybe it was just a panic out to keep Legacy alive. The Transcendence was just a half second too early for me.
I think it was
I don't know
panic.
if you needed it quite yet from Paravir, and it's just like, you wonder what could have been different. Because
I think that actually goes back, Salty. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I think that actually goes back to Noodles popping Rally the prior fight. After committing, you look at Pulse Bomb, we saw Minefield to also stack a Rally on top of that was an incredible risk, and unfortunately it just didn't work out.
Yeah, and I wonder what the play call is. Again, maybe we'll be able to ask later tonight. But I love the play call from Creeps. Like, oh, okay, they use Transcendence. We're going to use Kitsune. 3, 2, 1. And by the time the Kitsune animation fully finishes, Paravir is just getting out of that Transcendence. Yeah, so all of a sudden, Obscure's like, oh, I can just go ham. They just went ham in the back line, and they never died during that defense.
Today's my cheat day.
What a play from DePaul. And now Tennessee, the gamble did not pay off, and they're just going to stick to their guns. The only change being Duxta now on the Cassidy.
That makes
to maybe
sense, I think.
try and stick some of those nades over onto Obscure and to break that break shield.
Yeah, I think the Cassidy makes a lot of sense. Just gets more long distance value than Sombra. Sombra, you know, we talked about that a lot. She was nerfed into the ground 2 patches ago and is just kind of climbing back into relevance a little bit. And that's in a very situational matchup when there's a ball on the other side, so on and so forth. She's not going to work in every matchup quite like she used to. And I think Tennessee might be learning that lesson the hard way.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm just a little curious to see as well if there's another tank swap here in map 30.
I have a hunch.
Maybe Legacy is just the one that comes in for non-control maps. I'm not sure. We'll kind of, you know, we'll be able to see later in the series.
Yeah, I've got a hunch we might be seeing Blemithy return from UTK as we jump into map number 3, but not saying Legacy's doing poorly. It's viability, guys. I'm not trying to be rude to Legacy, but just being honest. Already a minute off the clock. We've got to remember DePaul needs 33% of that first point, and that's it. The map is over. They go all the way around through into the Mega. We see Noodles fall to critical HP. Actually, Duxta not far behind either. Goodbye, Noodles. Probably goodbye, UTK. You lose that Brig, and the rest of the team should fall like dominoes. Not soon after. Goes for an off-map boop. Not able to find it. Paravir, the only standing support. Oh my goodness, Obscure does go down. First death this map to a Wrecking Ball double boop into the void below, into the drink. That then falls to Hydra just when we're ready to count Tennessee out of this. They crawl back from a 4v5 disadvantage and win in domination.
Hydra gets a 4K, I'm pretty sure that fight as well. Just going absolutely ham. And I liked the rotation from DePaul. You catch out Noodles in the back. They just could not capitalize on it, but Paravir at least made the rotation all the way over to the opposite side of the map, and they slowly were able to chip away and pick off the squishies on DePaul. And now, yeah, Noodles not going to be playing over on that left side anymore. Of course, they're playing on top here with their other support as well to not be able to get dove, and not even dove, just ran over. Like
yeah,
they did
completely bodied. Like that maybe,
like that.
Salty. If anyone needed an example of what we were talking about just there's a perfect one for you. Now that forces Legacy to drop Minefield. Suzu's online. Nobody goes down to an Obscure. Taken out by Paravir on the high ground. Answered by a shot from Noob. Goodbye Zen. Goodbye Noodles. Hello,
no!
Pause. I have no idea what this pause could even dictate, but we know that something has truly gone wrong. Noob has the Blizzard online, found both supports, and DePaul is already over halfway to that 33%. So there's a very real chance this Blizzard simply wins them that fight. Salty, something I've been waiting to talk about in this pause feels like the perfect time. Zen Brig is relevant right now if there is a Wrecking Ball on the other team. UTK continues to run this with no Wrecking Ball on the other team. Zen Brig is the lowest possible healing comp in the entire game. Do you think that low healing has something to do with them getting bodied here on Blizzard World?
I think it's the right call when you're running the ball. I think
sure.
It is more dependent on what the other tank is. I think it can work if it's still a Diva or a Winston on the other side.
Sure.
But I do not think against the Sigma, and it's just very hard because you have to play those engagements perfectly. Because if you don't, hey, you could get rocked. You know, the Sigma shield could block off sight lines. It is a very rough spot to be sometimes in that lineup, and you have to play those engagements incredibly fast like they did over on Oasis, and they haven't been able to here on Blizzard World. And as you said, both supports down for UTK. Blizzard, I believe, is like just getting thrown out as we have pause. I'm guessing we had a leg spike or a DC or something to that degree. Okay, well, we're getting info on it. We'll have to wait and see.
We've gotten confirmation it's something weird, and that's currently all we know.
Okay.
So we'll let y'all know when we know, but this is a tough time to pause. Like, we are mid-fight, and I believe, I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
Final fight.
Like, I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but I believe the rule is you pause when a fight comes to a close, not mid-fight. So I don't know the logistics on this, but there could be...
It depends on who pause. If it's DePaul is the one that asked for a pause, maybe.
That's true. But if it's like lobby leader just insta-pausing because somebody on their team, you know what I mean?
I'm curious.
There's variables at play.
Yeah, and at least it seems like, especially these two teams, I've seen them kind of BSing with each other before.
Yeah.
There's at least a mutual respect here. Like, okay, if we need to figure out a way around this issue, they can. But honestly, I want to give credit to DePaul. They're looking way more confident, and it seemed like they just needed a map that kind of favored what they were wanting to run. And honestly, you look at the rest of the maps, Esperanza, Dorado, at least if they win this, guaranteed to be played. Especially Esperanza. It's a decent Sigma map, especially for push standards.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious.
Oh, wait, no, I'm an idiot. Never mind. I was going to say Circuit Royale. That's not a push map, so never mind. Creeps takes out Legacy. Blizzard covers the entire point, and all wins. And we just waited 9 more seconds. The map could have came to a close, but hey, at least we got a nice little bow on top of it. Salty. DePaul tying us up 1-1. We are going at the very least to map number 4, which I totally remember what it is.
Yeah, Dorado now confirmed, and Ilios now becoming a possibility. This is the very end. Your Noob able to take out one, finishes off Noodles. You have the pause kind of all the way in there, and able to finish off a few as well. So I will say they did what they needed. They shut down Hydra. That is what we said they needed to do. Going into this map, they shut down Hydra, and they punished Noodles for being just a little overzealous on some of these fights because they thought they could get away with it, and this time couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, they really got done exactly what they needed to. There was a strong level of performance coming from the side of DePaul, and they've tied us up 1-1. If you all have ever watched an EGFC stream, you know exactly what that means. Tied up 1-1, guaranteed map 4. We're going to have a little break right here, so we're going to let the players get ready, use the restroom, do whatever they have to do, but meet us right back here for map number 3 of our first series in just a bit. right, chat, you know I love to keep it 100 with you. We're not going to hide any secrets. There was an HP imbalance in lobby. That's where the pause came from. They needed to reset it and make sure things were set up appropriately and that people could have, the tanks in particular in the most recent patch, could have the proper HP values, which has now been fixed. Both teams are agreeing to call that a DePaul win. They earned it after all. And Tennessee going to be trying to win map number 3 and put themselves up 2-1 on the series. Blamethy making a return.
Yeah, no shock there, honestly. We had a feeling Blamethy was going to come back.
Yeah.
I think partially as well due to the fact that Push can play very much like Control, and Blamethy has played very well on Control over the last split and a half, so not a huge surprise. But this time around, over onto the Ramatra.
I'm excited. I really like seeing Ramatra. We're seeing the Lucio as well. Lucio Curie, a pretty meta pick recently with Brig, slowly bullying her way into that Lucio slot. And that speed, I think, is going to be really beneficial when Ramatra goes for his Nemesis form, runs it down, and even in Annihilation, can move a lot faster just with that Lucio online. Nothing changing from the side of DePaul, keeping May Torb. I think they're really going to struggle on a map like this, but that Zen, though, clearly proving me wrong just in a single breath. That's just so taken offline, and Blamethy's Annihilation desperate to make space for this team at a disadvantage.
Yeah, and the pummel damage is not coming on too. They will fall out of that Nemesis form too, and I have a feeling fall back over to spawn. Yep, there goes the accretion. Zap able to finish. And it should not work on paper. Even Torb got nerfed during this previous patch, just barely with that turret HP getting lowered by 25.
Yeah.
And yet they're making it work.
It's fascinating. One of my good friends is a Torb believer. He's a huge Torbjorn fan, and he's super excited because right now, for whatever reason, the meta has fallen into an appropriate way where Torbjorn just gets a lot of value and continues to be a power player. He's great at burning down shields, which can be really helpful against Ramatra, against Reinhardt, who's trying to be relevant. Here comes a Molten Core in the first 90 seconds of the match. It goes to show how much damage that Zed has been able to get done. Paravir falls, and University of Tennessee really having a rough time at the beginning of Esperanza.
Even though, are they even gonna be able to touch? No, they just don't. They don't touch. Everybody's trying to get healed up. Blamethy's only at 100 and so HP. They can't get down to touch, and Tick already captured by DePaul. Hydra is still sitting up here on the top right. Now will be joined over by Paravir. The rest of the team over there by Bridge near main, but now they just have to push on him with Kitsune.
Annihilation online once again. Dadzen falls to the Kitsune. I think this is a very desperate moment for Tennessee, but it's a reasonable one. You need to make space, you need to get value, and you need to get these eliminations. Zap just bodying into the back line. Accretion's one. Noob finds another in a blizzard to boot. Oh my goodness, DePaul throwing everything they have at this roster and trying to take them down. Hydra falls, blizzard, Nolan, Void, Gravitic Flux, pretty useless as well if we're being honest. Noob has to pop that cryo freeze Kitsune from the creeps to keep the team up and running. That is every ultimate DePaul had in their arsenal used in a single fight.
And yet they win. They're able to win the fight because of the Kitsune. They build up that extra heals, and UTK is too scared to try and push in, at least right away. But now with that opening pick onto creeps, a lot of that healing gone. Obscure is left all alone. I have a feeling this is when UTK is finally able to get their feet back from underneath them. But honestly, what a first push for DePaul. 3 minutes and you already got 80 meters.
This is how every game of push goes when I'm playing, I swear. This is exactly what happens. It's just that constant barrage of a team bodies the first couple of fights, and then all of a sudden it gets turned around, it gets flipped, and if the secondary team, who in this case is Tennessee, juggles their ultimates appropriately, they should be able to get themselves 1, if not 2 more fights. If they find a first point cap, of course it continues to spiral in their favor, and I think the spiral is exactly what they're looking for to find some success.
Now Annihilation gets thrown in, and Blamethy.
Or though, come on, that's perfect.
Nothing.
Yeah, you box him out. I mean, the most recent nerf makes it really hard to keep that alive, and it was wonderfully done. That Zendo dumps that Molten Core online, cancels out one of the strongest ultimates in the current game, and it looks like it still might not be enough to keep Tennessee away. Blamethy's 3K makes it a 4, and Duxta does pop Overclock. Pretty empty ultimate there, one they might want back. Oh,
yeah, definitely one they're wanting back at Noob. It's a rough day at the office for them. But I admit that Molten Core from that Zen though, which by the way, amazing name. Honestly was big brain, as you said. Like you basically wall off Blamethy from getting any damage through that Annihilation. You waste all. The only thing that went wrong, they were left all alone on low.
left alone on the low ground. The first way to lose a team fight, leaving somebody alone just like that. Now the pressure stacking. Gravitic Flux comes out once again, grabs at least 2. More Noodles up in the air, comes down, beat not online, and Noodles not online anymore either. Hydra going to fall. Paravir. That is my least favorite ultimate I've seen today. You're already down to Lucio. Yeah, okay, that is a very, very rough moment to be in, Salty. I'm a little bitter about that.
That was a very hopeful ultimate. Like, that was very much like, hey, I think we can get this. And at least for them, everybody gets close spawn because they did get that tick. So at least helps the wounds a little bit. But yeah, I think that was a little bit of an optimistic ultimate to try and take that one back. Oh, I love this aggression, though.
The counter Kitsune from DePaul. They're coming out quickly with this aggression, trying to force Tennessee away as long as they can. And DePaul playing a very fascinating playstyle where they actually left the point open for a little while. They weren't on the bot. And I think they're running something that we see a lot in Rocket League is they don't have to win this map in regulation. They just have to win this map. And they've already got the higher number. That's all they need to worry about is keeping that number higher than Tennessee's. And if that involves winning an early fight, then so be it. However, this is certainly not winning an early fight.
No, this is quite the opposite. And you're at least able to stall, I guess, for an extra 15 seconds. But you did use Kitsune to try and stall for
Blizzard.
a bit time. Blizzard used Dubna going over to the Soldier, which I do like that move. Try and at least deal with Ducksta and Hydra a little bit more head-on. And now UTK, they do have that sound barrier in their back pocket if they want to use it. They could honestly use it just to be aggressive here, and I would like the call if they did go that direction.
I think I'd like that call as well, honestly. Aggression is going to be key at the end of the day. Zeph continuously locking onto the Sigma. We can talk about that a little more between maps, but currently not sitting great with me. DePaul trying to make it work, wants to be able to get this accretion early, farming another Gravitic Flux, the second of the matchup, and University of Tennessee, a lot in their arsenal to work with. Which one is going to be popped first?
I think at this point, what's going to be most important is to try and be a little defensive, and yeah, it did not work.
Did not work at all. Molten Core, they body right through with the Lucio speed boost. You take minimal damage as you just storm through that Molten Core, get up close to the team. You saw High Noon from Hydra as well. Noodles dropped to the beat. I didn't catch why, but hey, you did it. You kept the team up and running. Clearly worthwhile.
And now able to take advantage with just over 3 minutes left. Rally is available, and I think, as you said, Zeph, the Sigma is not, it's not overwhelmingly working. It's doing the job that needs to be done. But it's just, in some of these fights, it's just awkward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the point I'm definitely trying to highlight is Sigma really does not have a lot of speed behind him. He's not able to answer a lot of what Lemething can bring to the table on Ramatra. Here goes that Annihilation. Quick jump around the corner. Kitsune online. Probably swinging for the fences. Another lackluster Annihilation. It makes a lot of space, though, and I think space is the most important part of this current combat. They want to try to win this one out in regulation. Flux picks up just Lemething. Should be all right. Yeah, goes into Annihilation form to have those extra shields online. Overclock from Duckstuff. Will it be answered by Noob? Maybe not, because the rest of the team's already dead, so we need quite the miracle run from a single player to try and turn this one around.
It seems like everything's starting to fall apart now from DePaul. UTK has truly gotten their groove back. I think Hydra being on this Cassidy has been a big help, and Blamanthy finally feeling themselves. Even though Noob has Overclock online, it's more to try and go in.
Zeph finally swapping off to Sigma. I'm super excited to see it. I think he can work well for the squadron. Noob, desperate to find anything with the overclock. Misses the first 4. Might be able to find something with that ROM block. It's like 90% damage reduction or something crazy like that. Biffs every single bullet and did make a little bit of space finally. Puts down Ducksta in a critical moment. Beat drop from Noodles. Too little, too late. Hydra dropping the High Noon. No! Sticks to it and finds a double! Both supports obliterated. There's so little to be done by DePaul as that Kitsune comes online for UTK and Salty. I couldn't have said it better, my man. This team has come back to life. They are ready to put a win down on Esperanza. That is a 2-1 lead for Tennessee going into Dorado.
What a showing. Even, especially after the first few minutes were all DePaul, right?
Seriously,
like
that's what I said.
It's an 80-meter-0 lead, and Tennessee's like, no, we're fine. We can come back from this. And again, Hydra, whenever they need them, just seems to get it done. Able to stick it, lands on both supports, and at this point, just able to finish up the kills. And I admit, this is still more than what I thought we would see from DePaul tonight.
I agree.
And now I'm very curious on Dorado, because I think it leans, in a way, it leans back to more what they want to do, at least on the defensive side. You can hold over on top gas for a little bit, over on top saloon as well when you get to second phase. The issue is the ball here is going to be very plausible. And
gets a lot of
I
value.
think Tennessee will try and go back here as I don't know. It is the home of the Route 66 Cafe. Curious to see, you know, what kind of tomfoolery we see, but I worry a little bit only because I know the ball can work extremely well here.
Yeah, first of all, shout out Route 66
Shout out
Cafe.
Route
Just
66.
putting that out there. Love you guys. But this is going to be a very fascinating matchup, Salty, because Ball, like you said, gets a lot of value here. I think Sigma can work. I don't think Sigma will work. That's kind of where we're at right now. I'd like to see a counter Ball. I'd like to see, Risa. I think, honestly, you could even come out with a Diva right now and get value. Dorado is a map that works really well for characters like Diva or Winston, probably not against a Ball or a Mantra situation. But he can just get a lot of high ground. Him and Diva both can do that and keep themselves in a very comfortable position to find success on the matchup. Success is what DePaul needs, so they will walk away from this series in a 3-1 fashion. UTK 3-1 last week. Want to flip the script a little bit here.
Yeah, I want to make sure they at least get back on the right footing because at this point in time, we're getting close to halfway through the spring split. And, you look at their future schedule here. They play UConn next week, who is honestly playing much better now than they have in the past. They're actually the next game against William and Mary. I think that'll be a really good
That'll be
test
such a good game
to see where UConn actually is in the grand scheme of things. Then they play Villanova, which they should be fine. They play UConn after that, and St. John's in Delaware to close it out. So it's not like their schedule gets that much easier throughout the rest of this.
That's trial by fire.
You need to make sure you at least win this because honestly, if you escape with only one loss the rest of this split, it's not a bad outcome.
Not at all.
You're going through the gauntlet.
Yeah, I mean, that is truly more so than other times recently, trial by fire. That is going to be a very difficult situation to find yourselves in. Just like the situation DePaul is in right now. This is not where they want to be, in a 2-1 disadvantage. And I don't know. Dad Zendo back on the Soldier. I think the Torb was tearing it up, man. I mean, the Torb goes crazy.
They keep running back to spawn, making us think they're going to switch, but I don't think they will. Tennessee teasing us a little bit double sniper look with Blamthy and the Winston. I honestly like that look.
I'm so down. I'm so down. I like the Ash pick from Noob as well. I'm not going to harp on the Torb play very often, but Dad Zendo reminded me so much of, like I mentioned earlier, one of my best friends, a great Torb player, gets value with a valueless character. And I think that really kind of threw a wrench in what a lot of Tennessee wanted to do because nobody is used to the Torb matchup, right? We know what a Widow duel looks like. We know what an Ash duel looks like. Nobody's out there dodging Torbjorn primary fires in their free time. Oh, yeah, Hydra went for a trick shot, almost got trick shotted.
Yeah, and Zeph, I think at least the bright spot here with this SIG is you can try and, well, I was going to say wall off the Widow, but they're already off of it. Hydra going back out of that signature tracer that we saw back on Oasis, that they could be giving Noob a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I think Tracer can work super, super well in this circumstance because it's going to be a fast, momentum, action-packed moment for University of Tennessee when that Winston dives in. Okay, now there's a Tracer. Now there's a Mercy. Now there's an Ana pocketing both of them. Like, what do you do? Okay, well, first of all, don't miss your sleep darts when we're watching your POV. Baravir, run! Run, Baravir, run! Not able to make it all the way out in time, though. Just desperate to get away from this Sigma, but Zeph is so mean. Wants the kill so badly. Chases Baravir into the Shadow Realm. That Soldier will get traded out in the moment. And that's a moment that Tennessee's going to want back. You lose a lot of healing when that Ana falls offline. This team comp not working like they wanted it to.
Zeph, I don't know how he even lives throughout the majority of that. The heals come in clutch, and even though he's basically like rotating from behind the UTK team, able to get a kill onto Hydra, force the res, and get out with their life, and now they get to one in the most perfect spot right here at Archway.
The Archway hold is going to be perfect, but it's a little bit harder when your entire team gets completely removed from the Mortal Coil on the side of Tennessee. The attack null and void completely. They're trying to stay here. They don't want to fall into the sunken costs fallacy. They're like, yeah, okay, we have Primal. Oh, okay, never mind. They are going to swap. I'm going to eat my words here. No pulse bomb. Going for the Genji. Okay, no, my goodness. And getting, okay, we're swapping everything. Ducksta going over to Sojourn. We're seeing the Genji as well. I think Genji can work really well to answer either a Soldier or an Ash. The Sigma Brig, though, pretty good at,
Well, Blamity maybe overstayed their welcome just a little bit there. I don't think they weren't in LOS of Paravir and Noodles. They were on their way over to the stairwell to try and rotate up to them, and DePaul realized it, able to clamp down on them as well. Priest getting a little, they're getting a little creative here, trying to finish off that kill. And cancel out the res. Res does go through. Hydra, though, is taken out. Have to wait a few seconds for the full 4-on-5 power play.
Power play is absolutely going to be what I think we're looking for going into the latter half of this matchup. 90 seconds remain on the clock. This has not been the clean, fancy run Tennessee wanted. They want to put a 3-0 on the board, and right now they're looking at a draw. Best case scenario. Here's Nano. Here's Valkyrie. There's no Primal. Here's Gravitic Flux to boot. Primal probably would have been great there, Blamethy, but instead it goes down with their ship. Bob finds Paravir. God, I always forget how long Bob sticks around. What an ultimate. Tennessee, they lose that fight again. They throw a lot out with the kitchen sink there, Salty, and they've got one more chance. Maybe two, but this is their last real attempt.
I would say they need to at least win this next fight to have a realistic chance, but they are trying to take advantage of DePaul not having that Zendo in the fight, and they did use 4 ultimates that last fight anyway, but you gotta make sure the silver block is worth.
Okay, finally got something. Might have to give their life for it, though. Can't get the body shot. Takes down the Accretion. Obscured finally falls to Blamethy. The Obscure survivability has been breathtaking all night long, and it continues to be so. They finally fall. UTK gets the res onto Duckshot. It's a full 5 going into this first point. Cap, Zeph goes in, finds an Accretion, wants to stall for as long as possible, and that's hardly a couple of seconds with no supports in sight. First point, Cap. Better late than never. They get it done.
Able to at least sneak it in and able to hold Blade as well. You know, wow, that was a nice little shot from that Zendo. At least get the trade, but they have Nano Blade online very soon. Blamethy, I guess, is holding on to this Primal Rage like it is their firstborn child, so we'll have to wait and see when they actually want to send him away. I'm guessing it'll be probably when that Zendo uses the next visor and just kind of commit to it, knock him away, would be my assumption, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, there was part of me earlier, right? I mentioned, you know, sunken costs fallacy way back in the first fight where Primal was online. We are now 4 fights later and still have not seen that Primal Rage make an appearance. It's definitely holding on to it, an ultimate that is pretty fast to recharge and pretty low value, if we're being honest. It's not one we see massive plays with. Nano and Winston going to be diving into the back line, I'm sure of it. Might pop Primal when they fall low enough. Kitsune from creeps with a huge ultimate to be forced out. It's a 1-1 support ult trade. Noodles brings that, oh my goodness, the Valkyrie back online, and this has to be the Primal Rage, man. Nope, still sitting on it.
Nope. And they cancel rally, though.
That's huge.
Can't even be that mad about it, as Blamethy, yeah, maybe they're just going to try and hold on to it the entire time. I don't know. We'll wait and see. I guess at that point, Zeph gets separated out. I think everybody was trying to jump down low, but all of a sudden, as soon as Blamethy jumped on high ground, they really couldn't drop with their tank, and Zeph, I don't know if it was just a break in communication, but stuck in an awkward spot and taken out. There we go. There's the Primal Rage, and they're just trying to now knock Zeph away.
Oh, no, ain't no way! Ain't no way! One tank ult completely closes out another. Bob falls in. The Blade already getting the value it needed for success. 2 players down, a third almost. Zeph finds the ricochet shot off the corner. Paravir finds that Bob Obscure. Cannot live long enough to see success for DePaul in this fight. Resurrection. Hey! Ain't no way, dude! Resurrection fully online. It gets Hydra back up and running, and with only 2 minutes left, Tennessee walking into what many consider one of the hardest points in the entire game to cap.
I cannot believe that res came through. And I admit, shout out,
just stood there, bro.
Shout out to Hydra. That was a vanilla blade, not even the nano blade. They were able to get 2 picks off of, because they were using the nano on the Blamethy, just that previous engagement. So now I have a feeling that's the direction they'll go again. Yep, there we go.
Yep, here comes Paravir's Nano online, probably into the pocket of Blamethy, and it gets a lot of value as you get a lot of additional damage on Winston. Uh-oh, 155 HP, caught behind the shield, you gotta fall, but Noodles falls for your own hubris. The Mercy overextends the heal to Winston, gives her life for it, and poor Winston can't make it out either. Hydra being on Team DePaul for a minute there, just standing in the entire lineup, gets out with no eliminations, unfortunately. Duckster gives their life for a pick, and I don't know, that's one heck of a stagger.
That's a harsh stagger, but I will say they have one elongated fight, I would say here. It's very similar situation to what it was the near end of the first phase, to where they pretty much need to win this fight to make sure they have enough time, or at least some time in the bank for the following fight, because they shouldn't be able to fully complete the map with a fight win here, but they should get very close.
Okay, that'll help. Dead Zen, though, just deleted from this Mortal Coil, falls offline early. The Primal Raid's getting a lot of space, but unfortunately no eliminations. Zeph falls, that's got to be kind of the go button here. Lamanthy dies, though, and this fight's going to be over for UTK. They need to keep that Winston alive, and they just can't do it. Ducksta might be joining him in the spawn room in just a moment. Phenomenal spray, Resurrection online, and that is the Winston returning to the fight when the team needs him most. Dead Zen deleted again. There it is, 28 seconds. I'm amazed that there's any time on that clock.
Me as well, and DePaul had 4 ultimates that they just never got to use because the fight just went in an awkward way to where I think a lot of them were like, oh, you know, we'll have stall, we can use it. And just because somebody was on cart for a lot of that during that fight, I believe it was probably Noodles, I think it was, that was kind of just for a little bit, or Hydra. They were just able to just continue pushing that cart forward, denies that from happening. And, you know, I doubt we're seeing either of these characters, you know, you never know.
Oh, I wish.
As much as I think Junkrat has at least better odds, I doubt it. At least for the next little.
And they nerf him for what I think is no reason. And I know that's a hot take, but come on. I just get bitter. He's the only DPS I'm good with that isn't May or Symmetra. I can only play the ones that suck, man. I don't know what's going on with that, but I'm not surprised to see no swaps from Tennessee. No, scratch that. I'm super surprised to see no swaps from Tennessee. I got confused with the red and the blue, but Winston on defense here? I mean, yes, it can work, but I don't know, man. It's going to be entirely on your Ana to keep you alive, because if Mercy goes in with you, she's giving her life for the cause.
Exactly. I think it's way more of a counter dive setup.
Sure.
They're maybe assuming that DePaul might try to run the dive, when in reality they're going to run the Widow Soldier with Zeph as well, still on that Sigma. So maybe at least the game plan changes to where more Blamethy is just trying to make Noob's life a living hell.
Noob giving us a little bit of a King's Row Widowmaker situation. Swaps right back onto the Sojourn, not able to find the value early enough. Ooh, I love the Zeph shield there to interrupt the Disruptor field from Ducksta. Not sure how that accretion hit Blamethy, but it does, and it cost Blamethy their life. Luckily enough, it's a 2-for-1 trade. Supports offline for DePaul, and that'll keep the rest of the team pretty stuck behind this Sigma shield. Zeph, oh my goodness, finds a pick. That's shocking in its own right.
That is a little shy. You at least force out res if you're DePaul, but obviously have to reset here, try and get everybody back. And Dead Zen, though, trying to at least make something work here. They're already off of the Widow as well. Noob electing for the Soldier, and a little more shield break as well to try and deal with Blamethy's dives.
You know who's really good at shield break, Salty? You know who's really good at shield break, right? I mean, no one's gonna play Junkrat, bro. I wish, but he's probably not making an appearance today. Like you said, the more shield break online, and the Winston shield, I believe, got nerfed, like a pretty aggressive nerf onto the shield, so it's even easier to rip through that bubble. Bubble falls, Resurrection online, Obscure gives their life for it, and that's got to be a go button for Tennessee to get back into this fight. That break falls, it's a lot of healing offline for DePaul. Blamethy deep into the back line, gets Creeps to half HP. Wow, Creeps headshot on the Ducksta. That Zen falls. Noodles eliminated. Oh my goodness, this should be such an easy fight win for Tennessee, but instead it's a neck and neck.
Zeph's able to get another one as well, so even if they cannot engage right now, they can at least kind of sit back just for a half a second, make sure everybody's here, and then push on in, because you know Tennessee has the longer spawns. They shouldn't be back quite yet. You can try and pair your attack visor as well with this Gravitic Flux.
Gravitic Flux, attack visor, I mean, it's like skeet shooting, truly. It could work really well. Nano is online. And I'm wondering if we're going to hold Nano Blade, or if we're going to Nano somebody caught in Flux to then keep them alive. But it's actually neither. For the second time, Zeph holds Gravitic Flux for the Nano Winston and pulls him up with it. This time, though, Primal online, Obscure caught out in the corner, going to be able to live. Winston does absolutely no damage. I hate this ultimate, and I wish it was better, but it's so hard to get value with. That Zen getting much more value just with Soldier 76. No ultimate. Finds 2 eliminations and doesn't even need to pop that visor yet. Rally from Obscure should be enough for Tennessee to win this, to lose this fight quickly.
And man, yeah, Tennessee tries to get out for at least the slight potential of them to re-engage, but I think with Paravir falling, it at least hurts those hopes a little bit. I think they're at least going to try and touch her, though.
The attempted touch could make a lot of sense. You've got the blade. It's got to be a dry one. Hydra did great earlier and going to struggle a lot more with 2 counter DPS ults online. Duxter answers that with a overclock of their own. DatZen cleaning house. I don't know if anyone has ever seen Tac Visor Kitsune rush from the soldier POV. Homie is dumping bullets. It is insane. It is so easy to get an elimination in that moment. It's essentially a nano in its own right with how fast Soldier's able to fire. And DePaul, they do it well. They cap 3 minutes on the clock, about 90 seconds more than Tennessee had, I believe, when they were able to cap. And it's all about this second phase here, Salty. This is where a lot of teams can get stalled out.
They at least already starting to make their way here through Church for a little bit of high ground control. And so far, at least slowly trying to make their way through. Not able to get anything yet. Creeps is kind of, just chilling out on cart.
Yeah, Creeps giving us their best Noodles impression, being the poor support stuck on cart. Noob onto the high ground, just had an overclock, already has another one, but that's fine. Gets a 1-1 trade, ducks the resurrection. Is hopefully going to be worthwhile as Creeps took Hydra offline, who's now on Soldier for the first time. We haven't seen Hydra on the Soldier. I'm really excited to see how this DPS duel can fall out. It's a complete mirror matchup in the DPS department where the tank and support roles couldn't be any further from.
Yeah, you could not get any further apart from these two. As Noodles probably sticking to, I would assume Duckstar probably more than they would be onto Hydra, but could be an issue for Noob and DatZen though.
Hydra moves a lot slower, which might be easier. That's a big Gravitic Flux. Might be able to take Hydra offline. I like the bubble a lot. It's the only reason Hydra stays alive, because a couple of those Gravitic Orbs are going to be hitting it instead of Hydra's body, so they live to tell the tale. That's the first Flux to not really get any immediate value. Noob, though, is going to find value afterwards. Here's another Nano Winston. I love the change from Tennessee. They waited for Flux this time instead of waiting to get Flux. A lot of damage to be dealt. Buys time for resurrection. Full 5 left on the clock. The accretion, though, might remove Duxa from the fray early on. I want a primal, dude. They are boxed in there. DatZen might fall. Gets down to the Mega, and Clemente just gives up on the chase. I think it's a weird call, but getting back into the fight is absolutely more important. Rally now online. Duxa falls. Still no primal.
You wonder if that hesitancy will cost them this point. I think it will. Oh, maybe not.
Finally.
Using it now with the Valkyrie active as well. Noodles is trying to keep him up, and the distraction is able to let them get res off. This could work.
Oh, Resurrection is online. We hear the visor coming out from DatZen. It actually finds a whopping nothing as Paravir puts them down in a very quick breath. Zap also falls. 60 seconds remain. Kitsune used in that fight, Salty, by DePaul, and to me, that was absolutely their win condition to cap this second point.
They used it as soon as the res got off, being like, okay, you know, this is actually winnable for them. We need to try and finish it off. And as soon as they try and set up that Kitsune Rush Visor combination that we saw just a little bit earlier, the Winston and Bubble goes down. DatZen, though, is not able to get over there to actually utilize the Kitsune and gets taken out way too early.
This is such a minimal fun fact, but Delaware had just 3-0'd somebody. They started after us and finished before us. I can see a Delaware player in the interview lobby right now. So holy cow, I don't know what just happened over there. We can talk about that a little more during the break. 10 seconds here in what could possibly be the final fight of the series. Gravitic Flux out of the high ground. Hydra popping the visor, using the height to find Noob over the shield. A phenomenal play. Goodbye Noob, goodbye Obscure, goodbye DePaul University. Hydra can't take down Zap, but is absolutely set the pace of play for their team to find success now. Blemethy's 2K should be enough. No supports online. Not sure why we'd go for res there, but it's not going to cost you much as a huge purple anti-nade from Paravir wins Tennessee the fight. That is a 3-1 victory for UTK today.
It was not the prettiest victory of all time.
Absolutely.
But they were at least able to get the job done. I think that is what Tennessee will be able to take away from this. As play of the game, going over to Hydra, I believe this is probably the vanilla blade. Yeah. Oh. I think there's the one later on here. It was actually able to get a little bit done.
Oh, no, this is the... Okay, never mind. I got my blades mixed up. You're absolutely correct. This is the dry blade.
Yep. But honestly, if you were DePaul, you're not... I think you're a little frustrated because you got close and it felt like you were in this game. They definitely were in this game for a lot of it. It just seemed like they couldn't get the pieces together near the ends, especially of Dorado. The ends of these phases couldn't just seem to get that last fight together. They were a little too hesitant on using some of these key resources. I would say their schedule gets easier. It does not get that much easier. So I think they're definitely a team that can take down, you know, the top 5, top 7 teams. They just need to make sure they settle into that comfort zone, and it may even be more map dependent. Like, there was a very nice map pool for them tonight, other than Oasis. Oasis was not was not their map, I think. But I think the rest of the season for them does not look as bleak as the record shows.
Yeah, without a doubt. And DePaul landed punches on UTK. That's nuts. The fact you even took a map, you made every single map we saw close. Like, there was absolute potential for DePaul in this meta. And I'm excited for the rest of the season for them to grind out, you know, what do they always say? Iron, steel sharpens steel or whatever. DePaul, they got to keep clashing through. They got to, something like that. Iron sharpens iron, whatever it is. DePaul looking good. Going to look better next time we see them, I'm sure of it. We're going to throw it to a super short break. Pull Blamethy in here for an interview. We'll be right back with that in just a couple of minutes. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to EGFC. Septilant and Twin Salty, joined by Blamethy, tank player of UTK. So, Blamethy, my first question, putting you in the hot seat. Blamethy, no play Blizzard World. Why?
So, that was a last minute decision we made. I am not very good at ball, but we just got a new player over for this new semester named Legacy, and he says he has 500 hours on ball, so we figured we should give him a shot, but we didn't have enough time to practice in scrim, so we just threw him in there today just to see how it goes. And it turns out the tank health was wrong, so that's a little unfortunate for him, but we thought we'd try it, and since I'm not very talented at ball, we said why not, but unfortunate.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a trial by fire for Legacy, and I think there was definitely some times to where they played really well. So I'm curious to see how they develop throughout the rest of the. See, there you go, you're back. So how did you guys kind of look at that map? Because obviously we had a little bit of game code issues, but how did you guys kind of look at that map going into map 3?
We were a little salty because we said to pause and then we died while we said to pause, but it's okay. We kind of went with a fresh mindset. Just decided. Hi, Ducks. We decided it doesn't matter. Basically 0-0, and we just went from there.
Yeah, and it seemed like you guys did extremely well, at least from that point on. And how are you guys looking at the rest of this split? Because your schedule honestly does not get that much easier. You have a lot of tough games throughout the next few weeks here. So how are you guys looking at it, especially against teams, like Delaware and St. John's?
So I think we'll be ready next time. We'll hopefully with the meta change, and especially the meta change not in our favor, we still need to do some preparing. But last time, we didn't have all our DPS at their home setups, and we were trying something else. So I think once we're done trying stuff out and we actually get in the groove of everything, we'll be set and ready to win again.
Yeah, I absolutely believe it. Just one more question for you, Blamity, because I was going to ask about the meta, but you kind of stole my question before I even got to ask it. Is there anybody you just want to give a thank you or a shout out to while you're here with us?
I think my friends, they might be watching right now. I don't know. They just got done with a big physics test and they have more studying to do. So I feel bad for them. But yeah, always just them.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Big congrats, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Blamity.
And with that, folks, we're going to go ahead and throw it to a break. We've got exactly 15 minutes until our next game is slated to start, and it's going to be a fun one. Don't go far. We'll see you right back here in just a bit.
Let's give them something to talk about. I see the energy running out. I got a planet to run around. Okay, okay. You ain't do nothing but run your mouth. No, I don't want to be humble now. You doubted me, nothing to talk about. Something to talk about. Something to talk about. I got a planet to run around. You doubted me, nothing to talk about. Good luck. Cause I'm outside, tough luck. No friend of mine, no runners up, pick it up.
Though we are many, we are part of something. A force. Bigger than all of us. Our distinct fingerprints collectively shaping and forever changing what makes UConn, UConn. Forever making our mark. Forever making UConn a part of us.
What is going on, everybody? I'm the guy who can't find his William and Mary jersey, joined by Twin Salty, and I'm super excited because we are going to get to see William and Mary go up against the University of Connecticut. Now, William and Mary, we're good, are good, will continue to be good. University of Connecticut trying to be on a bit of an upswing right now. Looked a lot better last week than we'd seen them before, and like our two teams earlier tonight, they have a lot to prove.
Yeah, your boy Wing said it last week. You know, this has been a little bit of a rebuilding session for them, to where they're trying to get back to where they know they can be. We know they can be. Like, UConn, again, is still one of the better teams you've ever had in the EGF, and I'm not shocked to see them at least getting back to where they could be. And I think they have a pretty tall order ahead of them. William and Mary 7-3. They did sweep this team all the way back in week 2, so we'll have to wait and see if that is kind of what happens again. A little bit Eclipse is in for DPS. I don't think we saw him last week at all.
No, I don't think so
and
either.
Rich is at least starting for now.
Yeah, a lot of what we had to say about UConn was swapping roles, changing things kind of in the moment, and it didn't work out super well, but I know that William and Mary, we're not going to be seeing that. We're going to be seeing probably this exact lineup the entire evening. I'd be shocked to see many changes. Max, I mean, a Reinhardt extraordinaire. He's one of my favorite tank players in the EGF because I know he's going to tear it up on the Rhine, and it's always super exciting to watch. I want to see if I can find this momentum early. The Sim TP sticking to the Symmetra, another reason I'm super excited to see this composition come out. Ramatra, though, he wins the distance game against Reinhardt, and they're going to have to close the gap. try and find it. A Maywall not exactly as valuable as they want it to be in Rich. Critical HP out the gate. Has to back foot. Oh my goodness. Max hitting 3 targets with that Flame Strike. Up to 25 on the Earth Shatter. This Lucio so helpful, keeping the Ryan up and running, moves him so quickly. Another amazing Fire Strike takes Rich down with the help of Devon in the back line. The left shift in, can't find the Elim, but I mean, what is that, 70 to ult? Nearly 3 times what Rich has?
Yeah, Rich, honestly, you could tell they at least had the right idea early on during that. You go in Nemesis form, you try and use Pummel because the shield doesn't block it. The issue is, the Mei just counteracts it entirely.
Yep. Mei has a very strong ability to just completely negate the opportunities of that, that pummel, excuse me. My goodness, I couldn't remember the word. William and Mary, they find themselves up 20% already, 1/5 done. The Maywall from Samo, a little too early for my liking, if I'm being honest. If you wanted to rotate around it, maybe winning it another second or two could have been helpful. Cryo Freeze forced out, Immortality Field forced by Tiz guys as well. With an Amplification Matrix online, that Fire Strike will one-shot. Here comes Max 91. If he had the Shatter, I know for a fact he would have just rocked that hammer, but doesn't have it online quite yet. Here's another pummel. The Photon Barrier. Possible misclick? I'm really not sure what the intentions are on that. Eclipse puts the Gavant out of the equation early. Maywall not large enough, but Max finds a 3K to boot. Overclock just can't get it done, and William and Mary going to be able to win another fight, losing the point, but not for long.
Beautiful shatter there from Max. Hits Rich, Sam, and Lamborghini. All 3 die within 3 seconds. And they're able to at least clean it up. I have a feeling that was a whoops on the side of Slim. But honestly, it was one of the lower impact ones. If you're going to miss a ultimate you had on the board, it's going to be Photon Barrier.
Absolutely. Photon Barrier, it's a slippery ultimate. Funnily enough, it's one of the largest, yet one of the easiest to goof up. We're going to see Max already taking out his guys. 50% to an ultimate before this Annihilation can even come online. And the Beat Force from Lamborghini is desperate to keep the Annihilation up. Rich was critical HP in that moment. They had no VAP to heal it. The Beat needed to be used, and they still, after all that salty, have to tuck tail and get back to spawn.
At that point, it's okay. Annihilation definitely did not work, so just try and reset here, try and switch it up. TP, at least set up by Slim. Try and disrupt. Oh!
That's a colossal blizzard, but it's answered just as quickly by a nuke llama double. Nisu is able to find it, and William and Mary puts themselves in a very comfortable position to win this. Another shatter around the corner. That's going to be the ultimate they're relying on as Yukon comes out with a couple of their own.
Yeah, Nisu throws the blizzard down, and Newcomb was like, yeah, don't mind if I do. Both of you frozen, and off the edge you go, my friends.
Speaking of blizzards, here comes another one this time from Samo. Yukon wants to make space. Amplification Matrix online as well. That Fire Strike could be dangerous. Give me the pummel even more so. My goodness, my man Max coming in with another 3-man Earth Shatter. The beat drop from Duplama is the green light he needed to find some more value on this site. Samo gone, Tiz guy's gone. Lamborghini not far behind, and the Photon has to break the curse. William and Mary winning stage number 1, 100-18.
Proving that the Reinhardt, there's still a little bit of meta capabilities in him. Even
I keep
against
saying
the hard
it, man!
counter. But I will say, the Mei is a huge factor there in the sim
Without
as
a
well,
doubt.
because it was so difficult for Rich to actually try and get in and inflict that damage, because every time they tried to go in, Nisu was trying to freeze and slow them down with a freeze that allowed Rich to It allowed Max to disengage. And at that point, as soon as you got the shield back up, you're ready to go. All right, speed on in. So, a beautiful game plan for William and Mary. And now going over to the second round here at Gardens. Both teams now running these ball comps that we've seen a lot more often as of recent.
Yeah, both these teams, to my disappointment, do have the game knowledge to know Reinhardt is not going to work here. The Wrecking Ball makes a lot of sense, and William and Mary actually bringing out the composition we saw back in series number 1, with it being mirrored from Yukon. So both teams going for what they saw work earlier tonight, going to try to put their own little spin on it. Nisu falls early, loses that Tracer 1v1, and gives Yukon a very comfortable advantage going into this primary fight. Eclipse goes onto the high ground. I like the spacing a lot. Samo falls. It's a 4v4 to an exact mirror matchup. Both Tracers missing. William and Mary a technical advantage as Nisu will get back a little bit faster. Oh no. Rich
just gets body blocked. Like, there was no way out. The Discord's too strong, and Yukon, as soon as it seems like they finally had a fight going their way, nice little body block. Cancel all that out. Even though that could be at least an opening for Yukon to at least start this next fight.
And Nisu just cannot make it back into the fray without being taken out by somebody from William and Mary. Tracer, one of the squishiest characters in the game. What is it, 150 HP or something? She's so low in the HP department. Disruptor Field tries to scare Rich around, but he just uses that grapple to get up and do pile drive. Oh, if he goes down, that's the fight over. Critical HP, barely skin of his teeth, makes it out of the fight. Nice down again, taking down Max, joins them. His guy's missing, that's Discord offline, but the tank has already fallen, so Discord a lot less important. Equalizer in the form of Rich. Slim not missing a lot of shots here with this railgun, sending Sombra back into the spawn room. Disruptor Field helps the Eclipse go down. That Brig might be joining them. Railgun missed, and William and Mary, just like last time, they lose the point, but not nearly long enough for it to matter.
Is living like a king up here on this high ground. Is Gavin is just kicking everybody off that tries to engage up on there. Rich tries to go up there for a little bit. As soon as they go up though, Discord orb, charged up shot, take him out, and Rich is just struggling to figure out how they want to at least get up onto that high ground. Sam did the same thing and just gets shut down.
Oh, that could be a big minefield, or it could at least force another ultimate out from the side of Connecticut before his guys doesn't even get to blink before they are sent back to that spawn room. Actually wants to get up close and personal, has not been able to make much happen on this Tracer, and that story almost tells the same. Has to triple blink out, forcing the recall back to get that full HP marker. Pulse Bomb is at the ready here, Salty. It could be a big one if they find either support.
They're just going to try and look for anybody back there. Preferably, I would say if they can land it on Lamborghini, that'd be huge. But we'll have to wait and see if they actually are able to hit it. Minefield's walled off on high ground.
Minefield gets walled off on the high ground, and it's not exactly where you want to find yourself in this circumstance, but it's going to be a huge moment for William and Mary. No value for Connecticut, unfortunately. They throw a lot at the wall, and while that might have not been the last fight prior, it certainly is now that you've thrown a good chunk of your arsenal out the window. These DPS ults are absolutely the win condition for this fight.
And off screen, it was the stick onto Lamborghini, not able to use the rally. Now they have to use it this last fight because of that stick so early on.
This stick is dangerous, but with an overclock from the high ground, Slim wants to answer anybody from UConn who's brave enough to poke around that corner. EMP picks up only two, but one of them being Max could be critical. Both rallies now online as these teams rally together to try to take their opponents out without losing the point presence. Overclock from Eclipse comes in late, not able to find value as they're caught by the Disruptor Field into the backside of sight. Finally gets up onto the high ground, but I believe the ult has essentially come to a close. Transcendence from Gavant keeps the team up and running. All 10 members still standing. This is the longest we've seen all 10 members stay alive, and it looks like that curse will finally be broken. Gavant traded for Tiz guys now. Minefield from Max, just desperate to find anything. This Sombra swap comes in late, but by golly, has it found a lot of value. Max answers it. Nuke Llama, one of their own, and it's up to Rich to be the saving grace for University of Connecticut. Unfortunately, Salty, this might just be a really, really long stagger.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to touch the time as well. Rich, yep, no, whipped away. Nuke Llama denies the opportunity of UConn even trying to get back into this. Take map one. Dare I say, comfortably. I don't think it was easy, but UConn just never could really seem to get more than one pick together back to back, and Nuke Llama, this gotta be the Blizzard. Yep, both of you go off you go. And yeah, this beautiful play from Nuke Llama, who he is one of the standouts for Lucio play in the league. That's part of the reason why Max works so well, is because the Max Luke Llama duo, I can't speak tonight. It's so good. So not a huge shock there. I'm curious to see what the plan is on Blizzard World, especially for UConn. And if they want to run the Rhine, is your boy Wings about to enter the fray?
We can have a Rhine duel, Salty.
I would
There
love
could be
to see
a full-blown Rhine matchup. And speaking of maps, let's take a look at them. So y'all saw Oasis. We got that down and out. Blizzard World coming in next, followed then by Esperanza, our last guaranteed map. But if we go to map 4 like we did earlier tonight, you'll see Dorado and Ilios maybe in the wings as that map number 5. The pressure stacking against UConn as they find themselves down 0-1 on the series. And as I remember where my jersey might be, map 2 is going to be fascinating for William and Mary if they choose to run that Rhine.
I would love to see them run the Rhine. Again, I'm not sure if they actually will.
Right.
But I would love to see them run the Rhine. Because again, it's your boy Wings. He is one of the classics in this
league. It's your boy!
It's your boy Wings. We even had him on, in the interview last week. The camaraderie, especially against these two teams, they talk all the time. They are, especially, again, shout out Route 66 Cafe. They're talking in there all the time. So I would not be shocked if we saw a little bit of some Ryan play. I'm not sure if we've heard the sub come in or not, or if we are sticking with the current rosters. We'll have to wait and see what the call eventually is. But
not the sub we expected.
Okay,
Nell's coming in for Samo.
Eclipse, it's not like they played horribly.
Yeah.
They were just never in a good spot to actually get kills.
Yeah,
Because
very
especially
true.
on Gardens, never had high ground. Not
Yep.
once.
Well, 'cause it was owned the whole time.
It was all William and Mary.
It was not for
property.
sale. Yeah.
So I would love to see if UConn starts on defense. Can they actually get the value they want with the side angles they want on the defense? Because they have a lot more control.
Control is going to be the name of the game here on this hybrid map. Confusing, I know, but bear with us. William and Mary going to be trying to find a victory against the University of Connecticut. And we've got a side swap online. So UConn starting on the defense. We mentioned Nels coming in, but no wings, unfortunately. William and Mary on the offense. They could come out with a lot of compositions to work with here.
I'm a little curious on the call, but we'll have to wait and see if that is something that they are just feeling extremely confident in at the moment being, or if there's something else that we will see later on. Maybe Esperanza is when we go see your boy Wings. We'll have to wait and see what the call is. But again, they will be running the Soldier here, and they will be able to hold it kind of where they want, either here at the roller coaster or kind of back behind point. I think either way, Eclipse definitely in a better spot to play well, and Nels, well, what can we say? And Nels has been one of the best flex DPS we've seen in a while, so I'm not shocked either. What a nade to start off, and Daisu instantly out of invis.
Yeah, forced out of invis. That, you hate that when a lineup catches you like that. It's so frustrating to be the Sombra in that moment, but it is very well played by Lamborghini. They don't get the intel on who it was, but they get a little bit like extra ult charge. I think it was 2%. That 2% might come in handy down the line. We're going to have to keep a close eye on the matchup to see what happens going into it. Max swapping out of the Wrecking Ball. I think that's a very intelligent swap. They know there's a Genji, pretty diveable if you can get on top of him. And with the University of Connecticut playing for, I'm sure, this Nano Blade, they're going to have to play a little bit slower than we might expect.
Could it for the Nano Winston as well? Kind of like
That's
we saw
true.
earlier on. More, I would say, onto Nuklama and Gavant, but we'll have to wait and see what the play call is. Oh, what a nade.
Oh my goodness, the three-piece. Both supports caught out, and Lamborghini going full-blown supportal combat here, looking for as much value as they can find. Oh my goodness, this feels like me every time I play Ana. It's just that frantic, always looking around because somebody always needs healing. Gets booped almost off the map, luckily enough the posts to find them. Max is spending a lot of time. A fight hasn't even really happened here, Salty, because Max has just been rolling around. Nell's taken out. UConn feeling a little more comfortable, and there's no way it happened twice, right? There's no way it happened twice.
No, everybody has the red health. Everybody
Okay.
has the red health. It was a call. It was a pause actually called in by Sam from the bench. So I have a feeling it might have been why Nels died. Maybe he had some technical
A
difficulties.
DC, maybe, yeah.
Maybe a DC. Well, obviously we'll wait and see here.
Of course.
I do think a decent start for UConn. Again, you're playing that high ground very smartly. The nades as well have been just ridiculous so far. Like that first engage where they eventually got Nelson, it seems like.
Yeah.
But it totally stunted because your entire backline got antied. So
it was also just kind of awkward because Max was way up front, and then the rest of the team was really struggling to make something happen. But they got through finally. They got Nell, so I can't be too critical.
yeah, he gave me too critical, I guess. And Nels, we're already back in. Maybe just a very small issue there that was able to get fixed pretty quickly. Nice you now in the back line. Looking for somebody in that back.
And there it is.
Now they're going back to spawn.
That's what I'm worried about, Salty. Naisu really trying to play the Tracer and just unfortunately not able to do so far. It has been answered pretty aggressively by the side of Connecticut time and time again. William and Mary already half their time bank gone, and they haven't even been able to find a 33% of the point. A Bionade finds both supports once again. Lamborghini just leading the charge here. There goes Nels, though. Can't make it over the wall in time, and that's got to be a bit of a green light. Probably going to guarantee a Nano Winston as well, being down one. They're going to want to put that Winston back into the fray as fast as possible. Holding on to it. There it is! Winston coming high from the sky. What a stick! Oh, Naisu, I'm sorry! I take it all back! Tiz guys in Eclipse go down. Lamborghini send it back to the spawn room with a railgun blast, and William and Mary gonna make sure we see just a little bit more of Blizzard World before we call this game a close. Nels goes in, Nels goes down. William and Mary capping that first point.
What a stick. I think they hit the inside of Nuklama's shield with that stick. And at that point, just could not get away from Slim. Wow, what a pull. Not from Slim, sorry, from Eclipse. What a stick from them, and just sets everything up. Nels already swapping onto the Soldier now, bringing out a little bit of legs. and William & Mary already to a decent start.
I think Soldier makes a lot of sense here. I think you get a little more versatility, a lot more mobility, and you've got a higher chance of staying away from a Wrecking Ball, which is William & Mary's kind of win condition right now. Is get ball in, make some noise, maybe drop a minefield while you're at it, and create the chaos your team needs for success. The Bionade finds Max, they make it back out of the fight just as quickly, and William & Mary getting a lot of point progress off the minefield. UConn waiting through it, trying to wait for a time in which they know they're safe to push into this cart. Nice to rocking the cart alone as the rest of William & Mary goes in front of the high ground. Rich, 94 HP, the healing does come through. Misses the leap though, and it's not going to cost them much. Eclipse overclock, puts down 2, one of them being the support, and that's got to be enough to stall out William & Mary. 3 minutes remaining, Lamborghini gone. I'd like to see William & Mary just go for a full-blown reset right here.
Eclipse, that was a little bit ambitious, my friend. I will not
Just
lie
a
to you.
wee bit.
I think they could have lived if they just kept shooting, and honestly, it opens it up for William & Mary to push back in. 3v1, Nels is like, nope, I am not signing my death certificate quite yet. Now we're just going to take some high ground control and poke away.
Nels finds a little bit of momentum, gets to scare Max away from the cart. They want to wait for a full reset. 3 ultimates at the ready for William & Mary. I'm going to be looking at the pulse bomb. Naisu has a lot to prove with me. The scales are pretty clean. I'm glad I wasn't looking for a visor because holy cow, was that an unfortunate one. His guys does fall to that pulse bomb. Nuklama takes out Rich, and while overclock wasn't necessary, it helps you, and a win is a win after all.
Yeah, Max is even able to go in for the finishing blow as well onto Eclipse, and able to get out as well, and seems like at least picking up a little bit of the momentum they left off over in map 1.
Slim has a really strong high ground right now, and if the Winston doesn't dive up the counter, it could be beneficial for University of Connecticut. Eclipse able to find one already, gets up on the high ground. Nobody looks at Slim though. Gets a freebie trade, Transcendence online, trying to keep the rest of the team alive. And when your tank has already fallen and when you leave your other support behind, this is exactly what's going to happen. Nuklama just completely left to die there.
Just left all alone, and you guys think what the counter have been like, guys, help, like anybody at all, and just not there. And William & Mary have to reset. 1.5 minutes left here. UConn has Primal. His guys almost has that rally as well, has about like a 10% advantage over Nuklama, and Gavant now swapping over to the Kiriko, trying to give, you know, that little bit of burst immortality more from Max and onto these engagements.
Max goes with an early aggression. The whip shot sends him back, and that leaves his team open to get attacked by Rich, who has that Primal online. They can't find enough damage to take him down, but it looks like they prevented an elimination here. Yeah, the jump going to be whipped by Rich, and Max trying to find anything. Taking that Winston down is absolutely the win condition, but when a rally comes out, you know you've got to run on the side of Rich. Nels half HP, drops low, loses a lot of advantage just because Soldier really likes to be on the high ground. Nice, use Pulse Bomb up and running, but it's the overclock. That makes noise first. Pulse Bomb null and void. A lot of ultimates from William & Mary, and they're not able to find much with them. 30 seconds remain. This is their last true chance to cap this second point and keep Blizzard World alive.
They at least had that Primal Rage behind him, and Gavant honestly could build up the Kitsune Rush here in a little bit.
We've got Nano Visor though, Salty. There's the Nano, there's the Visor, and Nels it already puts down 2. That is absolutely the end of this hold unless Max gives us a miracle. Catches Nuklama while being juggled by Max. Devastating. The fight takes too long, and William & Mary unfortunately does not have the time to return to the fight before this timer's gonna run out. Incredibly well done by UConn. Holding the ultimates is always a risk, but clearly the risk was worth that reward. They hold just shy of that second point, and their win condition for Blizzard World has been set.
It's at least a pretty simple condition now for them. You've basically finished second phase. You equalize the series here. I will say Eclipse played better that map. Definitely a little more confident, especially the overclocks. Got a lot of value when they needed to. I still think Slim is getting the better of them in the neutral fights, but Eclipse got more value out of those ultimates. So curious to see how that kind of develops over here at, you know, the last few fights and, you know, the rest of this series. And I believe Eclipse, again, is also new. So there's also the asterisk, okay, they're very new to this team. The coordination is not always going to be top-notch just because they are new. So we'll have to wait and see how they are able to do. And for William & Mary, I don't know. It just seemed like they couldn't get the pieces together late on. They used maybe one too many ultimates when they won that last fight, and they said nothing left in the tank.
I think the Winston swap was definitely interesting from William & Mary. Wrecking Ball gets a lot of value there. Has a lot more mobility, can move faster, can do more damage traditionally. So maybe it was just a comfort pick for Max, but it's one that I wasn't expecting to see. So a change of pace was definitely made there. Rich kind of wins out the Winston survivability challenge. The support's keeping that Rich alive 100% of the time. William & Mary, they're changing very little. I mean, just back to the drawing board here, back to basics, back to the comp they've been running nearly every map so far. Same goes for Connecticut, except this time, Eclipse going for that famous Widow.
Trying to pop ahead and got pretty close to getting rid of Slim, but not able to at least initially, and now just playing a little safe just to make sure they don't get flanked here by Nisu. And well, it may not be Nisu that gets him. Max and Nisu now trying to get on him. At least the peel is there this time around.
Venom Mine kind of gives away Max's approach. Eclipse gets a bod shot on it, and Max has to return to the front lines here. A lot of damage dealt, but he lives to tell the tale, and that's what matters at the end of the day. Trick shot falls short as well. William & Mary rotating all the way back on top of the boathouse. Gonna find a Rich. This could be a really good way to equalize Rich, or to isolate, excuse me, wrong word. And unfortunately, it's Gavon who gets isolated, completely bodied out by Rich. You lose your Zen. You don't lose a lot of healing, but you lose a lot of damage potential. And that's what this team needs right now for success. Goodbye, Nisu, Yukon, feeling very good about their odds of winning this primary fight, especially as an anti-nated Max can't get out of the way in time.
Not able to get out. Yukon already starting to make some progress, and honestly, I don't know if William & Mary even can push back into this.
No.
3 on, yeah, it'll be
Max died way too late.
Early cap. Over 5 minutes for Yukon here just to get it 111 meters. And you gotta think, yes, the Widow pick hasn't been great, but honestly, this Winston call hasn't been as bad as I thought it would.
I agree. Winston had a lot of viability on Dorado, which we might be seeing depending on how this map goes, but I didn't really expect to see him on Blizzard World. Instead, it's Rich really leading the charge with this Winston, dominating the high ground, which makes it difficult for William & Mary to do a lot. And as long as Rich can land that Winston ult fire on a Zenyatta, you get, what is it, 50 for the ult fire, 30 for landing damage. That's already 80, which is almost half of Zenyatta's HP pool. I mean, he does not have a lot of HP to work with, a lot of it being shielded as well. That's not almost half. Nobody do the math, just trust me. But the point is, it's a lot of damage, and unfortunately, Max has not been able to answer out that same level of damage on the Wrecking Ball so far. Max so far has been a damage sponge. Gets to live, gets to pull a little bit of focus, but if your team can't capitalize when they look away, it's all completely for nothing. Goodbye, support line. Hello, Yukon. Really feeling strong here on Blizzard World. They are one good fight away from winning this map out in completion.
Maybe something else, and it was just a small little change they needed, and Bubble just comes right in time for Rich. And now this cart continuing to move on, only about 40 meters away at this moment in time, and they won't have the nano for the visor, but they do have visor and rally up, banking a lot for William & Mary on this overclock.
The overclock, the minefield was null and void. Overclock from Slim onto the high ground. The Winston dive immediately Bubble on top, but I love the shake-up from Slim. Completely baits out the Winston, forces him to fall, and has an uncontested high ground. Looks like it's uncontested by just about everybody, though, as nothing comes from it. It makes enough space for the rest of William & Mary to clean up. Max and Nisu, in particular, Nisu getting a lot of eliminations, making the space, and only 3 more minutes, Salty.
And Yukon did not use a single ultimate that fight, which I think is very smart of them, knowing we only need to win 1.
Yep.
1 in maybe a late recontest, but at that point to be so jumbled up. William & Mary, though, do have both support ultimates online to try and answer. I have a feeling Rally could be used early, and the Transcendence may be used as a counter out to Nels.
Eclipse takes out Slim. Nels is traded, so no visor in this fight. A rally from Tiz guys, desperate to keep the rest of the team alive, but answered by a rally from Nuklama as well. A lot of additional armor for both sides, and it's going to be about focus damage on how this can get done. This is where Winston might fall a little bit short. He's not good at dealing a lot of damage quickly, but instead a little bit of damage to several enemies at once. Rich gone. Eclipse not far behind the minefield, keeping the point open, and William & Mary winning another fight out in regulation here. Max catching Tiz guys on their way out the door. You've done it twice. You've got to do it probably 3 to 4 more times.
Yes, definitely not the job done quite yet for William & Mary, but hey, it's at least one fight in the right direction. Nisu does have the Genji Blade here ready to go, and Gavin now can honestly just wait whenever they need to use that as an emergency. Hey, everybody needs healing button. You know, they could counter out as well for Nell. Says Nanovisor actually, as I'm saying that, is getting extremely close to becoming a possibility.
It is just hiding around the corner. They've been sitting on Visor for a while, and I think that was kind of the tell to me. They're definitely waiting for Nano on it. There may be an earlier circumstance where they're like, okay, I have the Nano to keep Winston alive, but you've been sitting on Visor this long. There's a reason behind it, and as Nano comes online, there it is. Nano Visor going to rip this team apart. I love what we're seeing. The natural cover from William and Mary is a genius play. The Bridge Shield to keep him up as well, and Salty, I don't know why they just used Trank.
I think it was just emergency, like, hey, we need to make sure we stay in this fight, but it may not matter anyway.
I think Trank comes out way too early. The threat had been completely destroyed. Nels takes out Nisu. That's the blade offline. Slim is missing 5v3 in favor of University of Connecticut. You've got it down to the final 90 seconds. Rich is offline. Rally from Nucleum to keep these remaining members up and running. Eclipse is critical condition, but a Sleep Dart removes Max from the fight for just a moment. The Bionid to clean up both the Brig and the Wrecking Ball. 4 meters. Nisu, you might just want to pull the blade and clean house now. But they're going to hold on to it for at least that final fight, Salty. This next fight should be our last true fight, with UConn maybe getting one more panic chance.
And you gotta think they gotta be going in soon here. You know they don't have Gavin. That's where the minefield just to try and stall.
Yeah, Max, I think that's their 5th minefield on defense. Really farming them pretty consistently. Overclock from Slim. Wants to create space. Wants to be that problem child, but gets deleted by that Winston pressure. Nisu has to pull blade. Goodbye, Brig. Goodbye, Rally. Goodbye, Nels. Hello, William and Mary once again. Eclipse does find Gavon and now puts down Nisu. Overclock should be enough to win this, but it's denied by Max. Almost a C9 as Lamborghini sneaks in, and it's going to be that recontest spin to win. A classic Wrecking Ball play. Desperate to hold on to this card for as long as possible. Bastion from Slim. A genius play here. It's a risky one, but you do an insane amount of damage. Getting rid of the Ana now might just win you that next fight, which will absolutely be the final one. Can William and Mary snatch a victory from the jaws of defeat here?
I think they may be able to. The fact that Max is able to stay hooked on to the payload during that so they can't get booped far enough away for that final half meter to go through is huge.
Without a doubt, it is a colossal play, but here it goes, that one more try. We've burned 5.5 minutes. Nels has the Visor. The Nano from Lamborghini is just around the corner, and there is no defense hold in sight. He dips down quickly, not able to find anything. 2 members of his team already down. The natural cover from William and Mary is such a genius play that I cannot highlight enough. Nisu will fall. Nels gets traded out in that moment, and the anti-nade from Lamborghini does not break through the rally of the armor. You know what I'm trying to say there. William and Mary putting their 2nd map win on the board. And I mean, I'll be honest, Salty, everybody knows I love William and Mary. I was fully ready to count them out of that situation, but that is why this team is as good as they are. They can win things that many of us would believe unwinnable until a team like this pulls it off.
Just what a last 2 minutes, right?
Seriously, it never
like
stopped.
That, they have no right to win. They had no right to win that fight, and able to squeak it on through, and now able to have that 2-0 series lead heading into Esperanza, where it leans more into the philosophy of control, which they played extremely well. It was not as close back over to Oasis. So I definitely think William Mary, now that they've escaped to death in that map too, they might have just set themselves up pretty nice.
A 3-0 could be just around the corner, but this corner is a big one. We're going to throw it to a super short break. We'll see you right back here in just a few minutes with our 3rd and possibly final map of this series. is going on, all you Goblins, gamers, and goofballs, and welcome back to map number 3, William & Mary versus University of Connecticut. And if you're just joining us, the 2-0 does not dictate what we've seen so far today, Salty.
Definitely not. I would say it's been a lot closer than what it seems from the outside. I will say your boy Wings is in the lineup, starting over on Tank.
Wings.
Sam is also back in. Nels shifts in for his guys over on the flex support line. So I'm curious to see how that actually ends up, because we don't normally see the role swaps, especially with a team like UConn very often. We'll have to wait and see how that works. William & Mary running a very similar ball comp. This time, though, still running the Lucio and the Kiriko with it.
I like the Bab swap a lot because Bab is the one support, I think, over any other that can do a lot of damage and still heal. And Nelson, a very strong hit scan player, so that you can get a lot of free value in a circumstance like that. Of course, we're going to have to wait and see how effective it could really be. Eclipse takes down Nuke, Lava Wings, getting absolutely shredded, but Immortality Field keeps him up and running. Goes for the pin on Descartes, wants to get an early read. Point possession in favor of UConn for this primary fight. Oh, that makes it a lot better, as Max does not live for the recontest.
I have a feeling we could see some swaps here from William & Mary.
I think so.
I'm not sure how much they really want to play into this. You have to play it a very particular way and make sure when you actually target an opponent that they die within 2 seconds, or they are just not going to die and the peel is going to be there immediately.
It's William & Mary going to be in a tough situation here. Ryan, I wouldn't call him a ball counter, but he does a lot of damage with his swing and with his fire strikes, and he can melt your HP very quickly. May, I would call her a counter. That is very easy to go through something like the May wall to block somebody in. The Immortality Field from Nels. You can't get a free pile driver kill all the time. So many variables work against Max on the ball, and as Naisu continues to be first blood for this team, it makes it that much harder. William & Mary are constantly stuck in a 5v4, where if Naisu falls, Max never seems far behind. Slim gets the pick onto your boy Wings. It's going to be a 5v4, but with a tank missing, William & Mary should go for a recontest before that point cap. Diving through the amplification matrix could be smart, and Eclipse is gone 5v3 for the time being.
Oh yeah, you just got the take if you're UConn. You just got to try and get out with your lives here. And
Yes.
It seems like at least so far, well, no, Nels will not. Lamborghini may be the only one that actually does get out. Sam's been left to die. Max is able to finish him off. It seems like Lamborghini's trying to pay back for leaving their comrades, and they'll be going all the way back to spawn to speed him back in. William & Mary, now at that point, at least made it work. Separate the playing field, make it so you're shooting from so many different angles that your boy Wings can't block all the damage coming in, and you just got to burn the shield down, burn him down, because as soon as you burn Wings, you have a pretty good opportunity.
William & Mary is a pretty high damage composition when it comes to a Ryan Shield as well. I mean, the Ryan Shield, going into Overwatch 2, really got nerfed along with every other shield, but I feel like there's not very many characters left that rely on the shield quite the way Reinhardt does, so you really had to change your play style. Your boy Wings taken out by a pulse bomb and a railgun shot by Slim. William & Mary, they've already equalized things here, only a 9-meter differential as the tank has fallen once again. William & Mary will probably get a first point cap here and get that forward spawn going into the rest of Esperanza. Max falls just a little too late for the team to recontest, and that is forward spawn for William & Mary.
Nope, that was lead. Not
Oh, you're right!
Yep, I thought they got it 2 initially, but no, they're like 3 meters away.
Oh my goodness.
To a decently timed contest for UConn, knowing that, okay, it's okay to give up the lead as long as that tick is not given quite yet.
Salty, what a good catch, man. I completely missed that. Kitsune comes out from Gavant. They want to stall William & Mary early. Naisu has to recall, taking a lot of damage out of the fight, staying on the bot, and trying to possibly steal it away. There's Nels getting that value on the damage map, like I mentioned earlier. Using Amp Matrix, getting up close and personal. Samo's wall doesn't find the value they want. The insta drop resets the cooldown and makes it a little harder to equalize or catch somebody out by their lonesome. Your boy Wings chasing a dream there, as you were not able to catch up to a Sojourn if she uses her slide. There is UConn getting both the lead. Oh, no, hold on. Not yet. The recontest William & Mary gets answered by a shatter, a beat from Lamborghini, and an over. Okay, if you're William & Mary, you are stoked at the way that fight loss just ended.
You're at least pretty concerned. Okay, they used, they had a little bit of a trigger finger.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. I admit though, the ego shatter from your boy Wings, I respect it.
Absolutely, you gotta
respect it.
Overclock coming out from Slim on the other side. Minefield available to beat from Nuke Llama. I was gonna say save it for Blizzard, but you don't have to if there's nobody to throw it. Samo taken offline by that Overclock. Nice who falls once again. First member of William and Mary to go down, a pattern I'm continuing to see. Slim takes down your boy Wings, and that should give William and Mary the advantage they need to steal the cart back. A lot of value gained from UConn there. They've got about a 20-meter advantage.
20 meters so far, and that all-important forward spawn.
Yes.
Everybody will get that forward spawn, so they can hold him closer to Arch.
Holding Arch is going to be big here unless Max can get in and just knock them all right down with a minefield. That could be pretty valuable. Pile Drive doesn't find anything. With already half the time bank gone, it's not often you see teams keeping the numbers this close, even halfway into the game. Pulse Bomb takes out Lamborghini. Minefield doesn't do much other than create space, but space is the name of the game when it comes to push. So it definitely gets its value, all things considered. And maybe from Nels, his third of the map, which is very impressive in its own right. Max gets the boot into Nels, gives his life for it, but I'd consider that a reasonable trade, especially as UConn only has one member left standing. William and Mary, it's going to be close, but I do believe they're going to get forward spawn off that fight win.
They should be able to get forward spawn. Probably not the lead, though, as UConn will be
agreed.
aiming to play around this corner just past Wayne, just before where that bot initially got. Yeah, they're going to try and work their way towards inner room. And yeah, that bot's already going to be contested. No meters after that checkpoint, at least so far.
Genuinely 0 meters, and it's less than a meter that move before the recontest came through. Samo takes down Slim, and as Max has swapped onto the Rhine now, we get my biggest dream casting this game, the Rhine duel. But unfortunately, UConn, they've got quite the advantage in this Rhine duel, considering they have a May, and William and Mary does not. Lucio to boot. UConn rolls through William and Mary, and while they got close to taking the lead, close, just not gonna cut it, Salty. William and Mary, 4 minutes left to answer this team.
Gavin got stuck between your boy Wings and Max when they both pinned
Oops.
and just died. And it's like, whoops, that's definitely not the way you want to die there. And that's partially why Max died shortly after, because again, no main heals, no Susan.
Oh, I love the Blizzard response to Kitsune Rush. It is so intelligent. Kitsune only covers a very small area of space. Blizzard covers pretty much that same area of space, so it is a very strong counter. A great shatter from Wings, but very little follow-up to keep the rest of the team standing. Nuke Llama, the Portal Combat, finds Eclipse early and gives William and Mary a numbers advantage. Great pin from Wings onto Max, but Max does live to tell the tale. Pulse Bomb backline. Nice who takes out Nels, gives their life for the cause, and that's the first time I'm not going to comment on the first blood because you found an insane pick with it. It was a good trade. Can William and Mary work with it, or is it as long as this May is standing, it's just a hold S game?
Honestly, at that point, though, UConn, you throw in the B, yeah, this will be
the
end of this push. And you at least force out the sound barrier as well from Nuke Llama, so they at least will not have to try and deal with the Blizzard when that does come around, or the Shatter from Wings if they're able to hit it. Already 69% and counting for them. Max does have the Shatter. I don't believe Wings hit his previous one, so I'll have to wait and see if he can, you know, at least go 1 for 2, but I think the Shatter is all important here for Max.
Undoubtedly so. The Shatter is going to be super important. It's probably William and Mary's win condition. Max, pretty notorious for massive Earth Shatters. We see it all the time, and there's a good chance we'll see it here. We're playing the high ground, though. I'm hoping he doesn't go for a top rope slam. It never really works as well as these Ryans want it to. Rushes down onto Wings, has them in a corridor, but chooses not to follow. It's so fascinating. Could have been a big Earth Shatter, but he's more worried about the cart, which makes a lot of sense. An intelligent play, one I would not have been smart enough to do. So have my hat off to you, Max. Holding onto that Shatter. Salty, I mean, this could be a mental game just as much. The longer he holds Shatter, the longer they have to worry about Shatter.
Yeah, at this point, it's like, okay, is he going to use it? Wait to play safe. Make sure we flash shield here and there. And at that point, you're trying just to break shield more. If you William and Mary, that wall goes down. Lead not taken quite yet.
Oh, not quite yet. Less than a meter, 0.30. I'd love to see the Shatter, and there it is! My man Max coming back to life. William and Mary cleaning up the roster of UConn, and as he knows he got play of the game, the wave hello and goodbye to UConn's lead. 90 seconds left on the clock.
I wouldn't be surprised if Nuke Llama actually stole that, but we'll wait and see if he did or not. But UConn now, you have to win this fight. You got 80 seconds left. And now you have to win this fight, I would say plus 2 or 3 more beyond that.
Your boy Wings is Shatter in his zone. Can he answer the 4 stuns found by Max just 1 fight ago? Goes for the early pin, not able to line it up in the rush down. Doesn't even need the Shatter. Nuke Llama gone. The speed slowed drastically on the side of William and Mary. I like what we're seeing from UConn. No overextension. They're playing every fight like it could be their last, because at this point, one of them is going to be in. I know Shatter. Max is gone. Gavant falls, and UConn looking all right, but I think at least 3 or 4 members still get forward spawn here.
And they at least didn't overcommit either. I think everyone will get forward spawn here. The only one I'm not sure is Naisu, but they do get it. And May swap as well to trying to at least assist Max in that Ryan duel, and now everybody working the way up towards this high ground again.
High ground is going to be a bit of tiny Overwatch as they're walled in on both sides. Max has a bit of a disadvantage. Tries to read the Shatter, catches a fire strike. Suzu force, and now they know it's there, so Wings has the free Shatter, and he biffs the whole thing! The backup is huge from William and Mary. They have played in the minds of UConn this entire time. Every time there's an ult, they use the natural architecture of the game to cover it up. The wall, the immo, the pin, tiny Overwatch all over again on the bot. Only 5 seconds remain. A blizzard from Sabo is colossal. Can the beat from Nuklama be bigger? Eclipse takes Max out of the equation. There goes Insu as well. SLM Slim tries to clean it up, but the chances of William and Mary are slimming drastically of finding this win in the overtime. 30 meters left. Gavant goes to stall. It is up to probably Max to find the Shatter of a lifetime, and that's if they contest it all.
They should at least be able to have a Nuke Llama contest for a tiny bit. There's still a little bit for that spot to go, but you gotta think this Kitsune rush has to be huge. And the Shatter
if they can even
well.
get there in time, they're being completely boxed out. Nuklama has to abandon the healing, has to get in there. Kitsune boxed out by the May wall. There's the recontest, there's the Shatter, and it's only onto Wings. That one is personal. William and Mary here to find a win, and they are getting closer to doing so. Nisu's May makes the difference at the end of today, and Nuklama melees that kill. 104 to 99. UConn makes them sweat, but William and Mary stand strong.
What a fight win for William and Mary. They just squeaked their way through that after not being able to win that previous fight. Max did get play of the game. I thought
top 500 capture the flag. Look at this guy.
Look at that. But just what a great Shatter this was. At first also picks off Eclipse, turnaround, Shatter, gets the pin as well. At least I think Nuklama steals that one away.
Yeah.
But just what an overall play from William and Mary. Again, this is a better UConn team that we saw over during the full split. At least I know it was a 3-0 again here for William and Mary over UConn, but I think this one very much closer than it was over back and fall.
We almost went to a map for every map. Like, that's how close this was every time. Every single map came down to the very last fight, and UConn looking, you know, it's another 3-0, like you said, but I think they are looking even better than last week. They are absolutely getting there. They're putting in the work. They're looking great, and hopefully next week can be the one where they break this curse. William and Mary standing strong, a top 5 team here at the EGFC, and like I mentioned earlier, I'm not afraid to admit that one of my favorites. I love the program. I love what they do. I love the inclusion they offer, and I love how fun the team can be in a situation like that. We're going to throw it to a break. We'll have an interview with Nuklama in just a couple of minutes. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the EGFC once again. Sepulence and Salty, joined by Nuklama, definition of supportal combat today. So, Nuklama, we talked about this a bit in the green room, and I'd love just to get kind of a rundown on it. You know, I recognize you way back when as a DPS player for the line of William and Mary. So, swapping onto support, how has that journey been for you? Has it been an easy one, or has there been a lot of changes?
Well, you know, it's funny you should mention that because I actually, I'm a support player by trade, but 2 years ago, we had an abundance of support players, so unfortunately I was forced to flex. But I mean, I'm just happy to be back on my role, you know, doing things. It's my best role by far, and I think it's good for me to be on it too.
Oh yeah, obviously so. You know, playing very well today, and honestly, you know, looking at your schedule, it eases up. I would say for the most part until I would say like week 15, week 16, and it's definitely a whiles away. How is the team feeling now after a great win over UConn, who are always pushing you guys pretty deep into these maps, to now kind of have a little bit of a break here, at least from the top tier competition?
You know, again, it's funny you should say that because we actually love the hard games.
Yeah.
The easy games are they're whatever, but the hard games, you know, we love getting pushed to the edge. We love playing UConn, love playing other hard teams. So I mean, we're a little upset we don't really have any hard games coming up, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, that's very true. How are you guys looking at yourselves compared to everybody else? Obviously, it seems to be a pretty clumped up top 5 with like yourselves and Delaware, UTK. Where do you guys see yourselves kind of within that group?
So we always think we're the best. I mean, you kind of have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah, we love this meta right now. I'm sure, as you guys have said, this meta is great for us. So we think we're the best. We think we're always the best, and as long as we think that, we always have a chance.
Yeah, I love to hear that. I love that mindset, honestly. I completely agree. If you go in thinking you're not the best, you're not going to be the best. And I think y'all absolutely have the possibility of being so. Nuklama, just one more question for you. We will send you on your merry way. Anybody you'd like to give a thank you or a shout out to while you're here with us?
Yeah, so I want to shout out one person, actually, my girlfriend, Tess. She's really my biggest fan. She watches all of our games. She's always in chat, hyping us up. And really means a lot to me that she watches all of our matches.
That's very nice. Hey, big shout out, Tess. We love the support. I'm sure he does as well. Nuklama, thank you so much for joining us, man. Huge congrats on the win, and I'm sure we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. And with that, folks, we're going to go ahead and throw it to a slightly longer break. Our next game slated to start at 9:45 EST, so you've got about 50-something minutes. Go ahead, take this time, maybe get some dinner. That's what we're going to do. I'm not even going to lie. We're all going to get dinner after this, so go get something to eat, maybe do something. But come right back here at 9:45. This is going to be a great matchup. We'll see you then.
Different here. We don't just get up for another day. We rise. We don't just work. We endeavor. We're women and men for and with others. We have hope, we believe, and we celebrate. Why are we different?
So we can be the difference.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the EGFC Overwatch. I am Septilence, that is Twin Salty, and this is Marquette versus RIT, our third and final series of the night. Salty, we were talking about this a bit in the green room. This series, I mean, it's up in the air a bit.
Yeah, I would say because Marquette, yes, they're 1-8. They looked extremely good, though, last week, and they looked decent the previous week. So they finally, I think, fell into a meta and finally have stabilized a roster to at least start getting those results. And RIT is the definition of a hot and cold team. Like, they beat Hawaii right at the end of fall split, And then they also have some very questionable losses. So
Yep.
I can't tell where to put RIT. They've struggled a little bit during spring so far, so I'm kind of curious to see how this one goes.
Yeah, this will definitely be RIT proving that they belong with the best of the best, making their way to the top roster. I believe they made it super far, if not won last year or the year before. I mean, they really have gone neck and neck with a lot of great programs, but coming in to prove themselves once again against Marquette, who, as we mentioned earlier, is a little more familiar. One of Marquette's kryptonites is changing roles every single map, which we're not super fond of, and we're hoping they've changed that here today.
A feeling they have. They'll have to wait and see if they did, as it seems like Stomp starting on the Wrecking Ball, Zippy on the DPS, as well as Reach for No Help. That's kind of what they settled in on last week.
Yep.
Zippy, though, didn't play. I don't think he played at all last week.
I think Zippy played Control last week and then did not play.
Yeah, so curious to see how that develops throughout the day, but Reach for No Help, especially on the Sojourn, can get a lot done, and it should be an interesting matchup against Foliage and Frost.
Round 1. Capture the objective.
Team compositions remain unsurprising. We've got a little bit of a play here with Minky on the Wrecking Ball to match Stomp's Wrecking Ball. It's going to be a lot of combat back and forth. Now, Marquette bringing out the Mercy is what I'm concerned with. If they're going for kind of a Sojourn damage boost pocket, that can work really well, but even with Mercy's Guardian Angel, that recent nerf makes it a little slower. 2 Guardian Angel away, she can get picked pretty early by a pile drive focus combo. Foley is the first one on the line, getting up close to Marquette and farming a good chunk of that pulse bomb, and that, Salty, is exactly what I was worried about. Who reses the one who reses? Well, the answer is nobody. Stomp's not far behind. Skomo has gone down, but as Royal Ranger falls, that is RIT guaranteed winning this first fight.
Reach for No Help, though, trying to at least get a few before they go, and they're able at least to get a few picks. They are able to get taken out eventually, though, and maybe at least opens the door for Marquette to eventually go back in here, but overall, a great first fight for RIT. Minky just seems to be all over the place, and Foliage seems just to be following them all the way along, and that might be the one issue here for Marquette, as they don't really have that flanker DPS to try and follow up on these pile drives.
Yeah, Soldier, a very strong character right now. His recoil was recently nerfed, and I think he fits pretty comfortably into the roster of anybody in those traditional ranks, and that might be where Marquette's finding themselves. That accuracy can really come in handy. Cassidy, the same to be said about him, a very talented character, and not able to headshot, you know, as comfortably as he was, but still looking for those headshots early on. Stomps deep into the back line, almost takes down Cassidy, but almost is never gonna cut it. Frost, 64 HP, healed back up. RIT, takedown Stomps, Squid deleted, and that's another fight win in the pocket of RIT. Wow.
RIT are just picking apart the Golden Eagles right now. As soon as they work their way over there, all right, pile drive goes through. Frost is able to pick up a few eliminations as well, and yeah, everything just starts to fall apart here for the Golden Eagles. But we'll have to wait and see. Reach for No Help does have that overclock on very soon, only 10% to that, so it can at least try and open up a fight. The issue being is that Foliage will be looking to stick that Pulse Bomb probably as soon as they even get close.
Absolutely. The Pulse Bomb is the win condition right now. Marquette, nothing to really cancel it other than the traditional Suzu. Minky might have just found an environmental kill, but oh, they do! They give their life for it! Minky off the stage with Zippy in tow. Stomps and Squid. Oh, Squid slow fell it. Also went down. Frost had the cleanup crew, and RIT looking to farm a highlight.
Yeah, what a highlight. You paid your life for it, Mickey, but I think it'll work out as...
Might be play of the game.
Very late fight. Stomps should be able to touch here, though, with Minefield at least getting close.
Minefield about to be on.
Oh, they don't touch.
Oh. I wish we could get a slow-mo replay on that one. Stomps was really close, but as I just said a moment ago, close and never going to cut it. Falls just a little bit short, and Marquette losing that first stage 100-0, I believe. It was very dominant in favor of RIT. I've got a hunch they're going to continue this level of aggression.
Yeah, there's no reason not to, I think, especially the way it worked so well. This is the kind of thing that works so well with the Zen Brig combo. It's where Frost is so self-sufficient to where they have a little bit of that extra health on that Cassidy. So they don't have to worry about constantly getting healed, maybe just an armor pack here and there, and they're fine. So the rest of RIT can focus on those dives, and now RIT making a wholesale swap over to the Reinhardt Rush.
Was super excited to see this. If I didn't make it clear earlier, big fan of the man with the big hammer. I think he wants to play Reinhardt on the side of RIT, and I really like that play, to be honest. It's a very good Rein stage. It's one of few times we've seen him today other than Esperanza, and they should get a lot of value onto Winston, who does not even get to play the game. Storm's Eye takes Stomps down, and RIT feeling very good about their chances in fight number 1, already up 5-2.
Yeah, that's how you win an opening fight there if you're RIT. And it seems to be, you know, the hot and cold of RIT, definitely the hot start, at least so far for them. Is maybe grounding the Golden Eagles a little bit after their sweep last week. But so far, you never know. Marquette could slowly make their way back through this. Now Zippy as well on the Reaper to try and at least help out their tank a little bit.
Helping out the tank is a very critical play in a moment like this. Are we going to be seeing a moment of success for Marquette, or is Minky going to continue to win this 1v1? Stomps goes for the left shift, sends it way too deep, and gets taken down in the moment. Shatter already from Squid. Not even needed. That's absolutely a look. I already have Shatter. Shatter has completely lapped Marquette here into that Earth Shatter from Stomps. This is a very strong performance out the gate from RIT. This is currently shaping up. This momentum continues to be our fastest series of the night.
Yeah, it definitely could be the little bit of a quick match. We'll have to wait and see, though, obviously, as Marquette now moving back in already. Zippy and reach for no help. Critical health. Squid's dead. And they don't even get to the point of choking. Now the converge just comes on.
Conversion online is going to be a big moment for RIT. Stomps and Zippy fall early. For Stomps, and only 70% of that Shatter and currently on rate to not even get to use it. Amplification Matrix from Skomo creates a little bit more space and guarantees RIT this fight win.
Yeah, it just seems like RIT are going on all cylinders right now, and not
Absolutely.
having to really do anything beyond the norm, but doing it all perfectly.
Blizzard comes out early. I love what we see from Reach for No Help. They're trying to separate themselves with the wall, but Snowball is going to be able to freeze them in time. Reach for No Help falls to that Fire Strike. Frost has a high noon. I wouldn't be surprised to see it pop for the Ego, but wants to prove they can get elims without it. 80%. This has got to be RIT's map in the bag.
Yeah, unless Marquette can pull something crazy with this Shatter coming up in Zippy's Death Blossom, but I think every sign's pointing to RIT with a strong start.
Here's that high noon, a great Shatter from Stomps, cleans house a bit, but Death Blossom unfortunately just does not have the follow-up they wanted. Zippy gone, Squid and Stomps out the gate, and RIT a 200-0 on Oasis, the only one we've seen today.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't want to say I'm shocked because we know our RIT can do this.
Right, absolutely.
We just didn't know which RIT we were going to get. It seems like we're getting the one that's playing extremely well, at least so far, is Frost getting the play of the game, and honestly, it is right at the very end here. Takes out Squid, able to escape from the Death Blossom as well, and
Minky robbed
the shots. Minky a little bit
robbed.
two headshots like that.
Gave their life for the play of the game and didn't even get it. True. Devastating. Deserved it.
But honestly, for Marquette, you just gotta go next. Like, you can't even think about that map because that was all RIT.
Yeah, and speaking of maps, we do know which map is coming up next. We do have that preset map pool week after week. So going into this next map is going to be Blizzard World, one that we have seen almost none of and then just about all of. Still haven't seen that third point. We've been very back and forth with it. If RIT starts on the offense, I think we're going to see the whole thing. If they start on the defense, we may get capped out at that first point.
Yeah, it's probably how it's going to go. We'll have to wait and see, though. Curious to see if Marquette makes any changes. Whether it be just role swaps for those who are already in the lineup or pulling somebody in from the bench. At this point, I wouldn't blame them if they did, just to try something new. I guess a team that is a very formidable opponent, so we'll have to wait and see what they have up their sleeve. But yeah, RIT, did anybody die in second round there?
No, I don't believe so.
So they're just playing perfectly well right now. Sports keeping everybody up, DPS making plays, the tank doing everything they need to do, and the Tigers of RIT. Man, they're playing well. That's about the only thing I can say. Like, they're playing very well to the point where Marquette is just, they don't know what to do. Yeah,
I mean, RIT, they're one of the greatest schools in the EGFC, and it's funny because I feel like they almost go under the radar in a way, because with a lot of other teams that are good right now, you look at Hawaii, you look at William and Mary, they have kind of this great story of, they were not very good, they've climbed all the way to the top, but RIT has always been at the top, and I think that's part of the reason they fall to the wayside so quietly, is because this is a team that came in, was good, is still good, made swaps, went to a completely different game coming to Overwatch 2, and stayed just as good as they were in Overwatch 1. That's something very, very few teams have been able to say.
Oh, exactly. RIT, they may not be in the top 3 like they used to be, 2 years ago, but they're still creeping in that discussion and could definitely be a dark horse when you get over to playoffs back in, I think it was like late March, early April is when playoffs are starting up. So I would not be shocked to see, especially if this team can really get a momentum going here in these next 3 weeks, if they're entering that conversation. But you know, I think especially this year, there's so many teams at least in that conversation.
Yes.
You have
yes.
RIT, Delaware, William & Mary, Hawaii, UTK, UTA. Like, there's so many teams in that discussion.
UTA, who also 3-0'd earlier today. I want to put that out there.
Yes. So it's not like last year to where it was like, okay, it felt like Colorado was going to take it. Almost the entire season it felt that way. I don't think this year we have a team that we're like, this is the team that's definitely winning. It is honestly, take your pick out of 6-7 teams, and you honestly could be right.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, I've been to the EGFC for a lot of seasons to the point where I've lost track, and this is the first season ever, I think, where I'm right there with you, Salty. It's like, genuinely, there is somewhere between like 5 and 8 teams that any of them can come out and overperform and win this entire thing, and I think the game itself lends very nicely to that. I think we're currently in a state of Overwatch where there is not a, in quotes here, bad pick in this game. There are people that have one-tricked every single hero to top 500. Every single character can get value, can get space, and can work well on a team, and that gives every team their time to shine. There is no set-in-stone meta right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's obviously close to meta picks, but there's obviously no, like, definitive meta. Yeah, Axion. They get hit with the Jagged Knife from Mickey, get dragged off of high ground, and they are not long. As the substitute gets killed first.
That is not something you want to see happen when you are the sub, after all. The Torbjorn, a character that a lot of people have been picking recently, because the turret is its own character, right? I mean, you just come out the gate swinging, you put the turret down, it holds a lot of focus, but when you're in such an upper echelon moment like this, where you're in collegiate, we're not talking about silver and gold games anymore. These players are smart enough to be shooting these turrets. These players are smart enough to take that Torb out of the fight early. They were able to do that, but with only a Junker Queen to their front line here, it's going to be tough to break through a Sigma Shield, especially when you lose the speed of a Lucio.
Yeah, at least try to use that commanding shout just to try and get on in, and they're at least able to find one, but not much more.
Yeah, not bad, not great, but not terrible from the side of RIT. Frost gets a 2-piece on their way out the door. They've shaken up the economy a little bit against Marquette, but all things considered, I do think RIT is at a mild disadvantage. Junker Queen is a viable tank, but against a Sigma, Accretion is a great counter. Suzu can clear most of her abilities, and Immortality Field can keep people alive through her bleed effect. Minky's really going to struggle to play this character against the comp Marquette is bringing to the table.
Especially when she tries to use the Rampage, the entire ultimate can just get denied by one.
Yes, straight up.
So it's going to be a very difficult task here for Minky to try and get a lot of value on a map that Junker Queen is not historically bringing.
Yeah, and I'm not particularly fond of seeing abilities where a single ability can cancel out an ultimate, but that's just the game right now, and that's the name of it. Reach for no help will go down to Gracie there. Minky gets that elimination. Royal Ranger clipped from the sky like a bird with no wings, and now Rochester coming back to life here on this A site. It looks like that will be the cap. They have taken us at least into the second portion of Blizzard World.
Beautiful play there from RT. Storm's Eye just speeds everybody out of the Gravitic Flux. Stomps hits nobody with it, and from there they're able to pick off the back line of Marquette. So now, as you said, have a good amount of time here to try and get through the second phase. Just about 4 minutes now. And ScoMo now going over to the Kiriko as well to at least try and have that short-term immortality healing just to try and make sure Minky can just get a little bit more done.
Just getting a little bit more done goes a long way in a circumstance like this one. That Rampage could be huge. You bait up the Suzu, you can catch somebody and probably take them down after it. Royal Ranger missing, Immortality Field offline. I was actually expecting a solo Rampage. I'm not even going to lie. I thought it was going to be about taking Sigma down as fast as possible. And as Squid falls, that's absolutely the green light. However, just because it turns green doesn't mean you always have to go. If you can win the fight without it, well, exactly what you want to do. Frost falls. It's a 1-for-5 trade, and Rochester with only one person on cart, not getting nearly as much as I think they could have, Salty. This team playing hyper-aggressive to the very definition of the word.
Trying to rack up those elims a little bit here, just trying to keep Marquette back in fun. There's the Rampage we're talking about. Hit 3. Squid's is the only one that's actually able to get saved by the Suzu.
Yeah, I'm indifferent, I think, about what we're seeing. The Rampage, it's a little bit risky, but it does work out, so we can't be super critical. And Rochester, they're one good fight away from guaranteeing that we do get to see the third point of Blizzard World for the first time today. A desperate gravitic flux from Stomps smacks into the sign and falls to the ground. 4:12 on the clock, and RIT taking us into the castle.
You wonder if Stomps is switching? No. That's a yes. They will be swapping over to the Roadhog, which, even though Roadhog, I would say, is probably one of the only tanks right now, especially after the mega nerf that came in for him. That is not, I would say, super playable, but funny enough, one of the only tank combo and tank. What am I looking for here, Matt? I'm struggling.
Choices?
Choices, yes.
Tank,
that kind of counters
picks.
out. The Junker Queen is the Hog. So I'm actually kind of curious to see if this will be able to work or not.
That's true. Hog can be very strong at countering out Junker Queen, but I think not a lot of the issue has come from the Junker Queen herself, rather than damage being dealt to your team. Hog, a very free-flying solo kind of character, might leave your front line a little bit open. Frost Widowmaker takes Squid out. Rampage could be free, but Nikki not going to use it yet. I'm waiting for the dive into the back line, and here it comes. No, still nothing. Patience is key at the end of the day, and RIT, the beat comes out. Frost falls. Rampage hits 4 of the 5 all 5 members of Marquette University. Somehow they're still coming out on top of this fight. I think they've lost just maybe too many. Can Minky cancel out this play and win the fight single-handedly?
Potentially. They have a commander show in a second.
Oh, Susie's back, though. You're in trouble, yeah.
Back. I don't want to say no way, because we've seen crazier things happen.
Okay, the craziest thing about that is Minky is 70% to another Rampage. It has been less than a minute, and there was almost a complete extra Rampage online off of the aggression this Junker Queen continues to bring to the table. It's a slow burn. It's an inevitable play. It's a 3-piece from ScoMo, but it is RIT capping all 3 points, 2.5 minutes on the clock.
That's why I didn't want to say it's over yet, because Minky, especially on this JQ, making a hero that is, I wouldn't say extremely popular right now.
Sure.
Working very well. That's got to be a frustrating one, though, for Marquette. I think they felt like they had that fight to at least stabilize a little bit. And all of a sudden, all right, you know, Minky's still around. Storm's Eye comes back into the fight to make sure they stay up. And at that point, as you said, they almost have another ult. That is absolutely bonkers from Minky, and now you gotta think they're probably just going to run that again. I'll have to wait and see if they actually do.
A little hard on the defense, I think.
Nope, yeah, gonna go Sigma on defense. That makes sense. Go over to Soldier and Widow look, brings in. Yeah, that's textbook.
Yeah, textbook, absolutely. And it makes a lot of sense that they don't want to play Junker Queen here because she's about creating space and taking it and establishing the momentum for your team. When you're on defense, the momentum's pretty established, right? You know, you're just waiting for them to come to you. It's a much slower pace from the defensive side than it can be on the offense. Damage boosted Widowmaker or damage boosted Sojourn, though, in the wings, and neither of those are one you want to meet in a map like Blizzard World.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Uh-oh. Did we lose him? Did we lose me? Okay. Is Salty gone? All right, well, he'll be back in a minute, everybody. You're hanging out with me. I wonder what the point he was going to make is, but he'll be rejoining us in just a second. Frost gonna find the Widowmaker, probably troublesome with the Wrecking Ball on the other side. Stomps running it in, though, at less than half HP. Adaptive Shields don't do enough, and has to regroup with the team. I like that play a lot. Now wants to go back up onto the high ground. Full HP, mostly. Could have a big boop, tanks an accretion, and maybe the third try is the charm. There he goes. Perfect bump off the high ground. ScoMo, critical HP with Discord Orb online, and because of that, Stomp's going to take an immeasurable amount of damage. Axe Hand, 1 HP. 1 does not turn to none as Foliage just can't find that lineup. Momentum stacking against Marquette here as the damage continues to pour out from our friends on the side of RIT. 30 seconds, or sorry, a minute off the clock. I'm looking a little pixelated on my end, but I'll figure that out. Oh, bye, Axe Hand. That is probably the red light from Marquette. Time to stop. Resharpen a little bit. Enter the fray as a 5-stack. Squid gone, traded out for Frost, but that feels pretty darn resable, if I do say so myself. Gonna go over for the full commit, get res online, and the 5th member of RIT comes back to the fight. Stomps is doing this thing that I see a lot in silver, gold, plat. No offense to Stomps, but it's this thing where Wrecking Balls are in the back line. There's annoying, but there's a lot of downtime between what they're doing. They're not making space. They're just existing in the back, and it can be incredibly damaging to a team when they don't have that tank to be in their front line, to be that playmaker a team needs. I feel like Stomps, if you haven't gotten an elimination by now, time's up. You gotta be swapping off. Half your time bank is gone. You've not been able to do much of anything. Squid bodied out by Frost, and even the Storm side. I mean, if you're not winning a 1v1 against a Mercy, I'm sorry, but you can't be playing this character. Minefield might find Minky, but there's so much HP on the table. A great body shot from Frost to clean things up, and Marquette in an increasingly difficult circumstance. Half the time bank left. The team split across the entire map, and I'm running out of ways for Marquette to be able to win this. We've got to get off the Wrecking Ball, and maybe just going back to basics can help. Yes, I understand Ball is meta, but if you're not good on Wrecking Ball, you are going to get value on other characters. On Ramatra, on Orisa. There's on Winston maybe, but probably not. Let's not get too outlandish here. I just really think we need to be seeing a bit of change of play from Marquette. Wow, if Frost would have hit that, that would have been a clip and a half, but they fall a little bit short. Ray Ultimate's in the pocket. Nano from Marquette. I assume onto Reach here, who can pop an overclock as well. Rabbinic Flux gives no cares, and Reach for no help goes down. A stick onto Foliage equalizes. No more Sojourns. A Brigida falling on the side of Marquette University. All right, team. Resurrection in pocket, but looks like they're not confident enough to fall for it. Gonna run back, and yeah, no Resurrection, unfortunately. 4v3. Stomps still hasn't died, but still hasn't found a kill. Yes, I'm being critical. Yes, I'm being harsh, but it's because I know Marquette is better than this, and Wrecking Ball is clearly not the tank they need to be running. If it were up to me, the higher-seeded team would always defend first because it would bide us time like this. We're going to see RIT capping all three, and turns out they never really had to because Marquette's going to need a miracle run here to turn things around. Reach for no help brings out an overclock, sends Frost out. Resurrection already used 5v4 in favor of Marquette. Gets answered by Foliage outside of ult, who puts Squid down just as quickly. Huge pile driver, Minefield to boot, but the Foliage 3k should be enough to ruin the chances of Marquette in what is easily the final fight. No ultimates going into the next one except for Rally. Brig should not be able to touch in the next 10 seconds, and RIT with a dominant, and I'm talking dominant, defensive body. Marquette University on map number 2. Now, if you all been sticking around tonight, you know we usually take a break right here, but I'm going to go ahead and ask our producers to ask them if they're willing to keep running it down, because I know I am. Salty let us know he's going to be joining us in a few minutes, so he shouldn't need a break. Oh, and he's back! Speaking of the devil, my man! You just missed it, but you didn't miss much.
Okay. I'm talking about the prep phase, and all of a sudden, my whole thing freezes. I'm like, okay, this is how tonight's trying to go. So I apologize to everybody. But the RT 2-0 currently, as
yes, sir.
Assuming. Yeah,
a very dominant one at that.
Okay, I had a feeling. So now we go over to potentially Esperanza if we do not go to break.
Yeah,
have to wait and see. You know, if we decide to, just go straight through. I think we're just waiting to see if teams want to or not. But I think no matter what from Marquette, you just take this as a learning experience, because I will say the one map type that they did not look great on last week was push.
Yep.
So that creates a little bit of extra worry for me currently, just because we know this is one of their weaker map types. And this is also a map type that RIT, with what they've ran tonight, will be incredibly good.
Yeah, I've got a lot of concern here, Salty. I'm being very harsh on Marquette, and a lot of people are probably gonna be like, wow, this guy's being a jerk. But in reality, it's because I know this team can be doing better than they are right now. And it's slightly frustrating, if I'm being honest, to watch it, because they're trying to stick to the, in quotes, meta. They're trying to go with what the top 500 players are trying to connect with. They're trying to do a myriad of things that I think are not going to play to their strengths. I make the hot take earlier. I don't think there is a true meta right now. Are there some characters better than others? Yes, of course, it's how every game is going to work. But do you have to be playing XYZ to succeed? Not even Lucio is a guaranteed pick rate right now. That screams there is no meta. I just want Marquette to play the characters they know they're good with. I'm a guy that climbed to almost masters being good at Junkrat and Symmetra. You can do anything if you put your heart to it. And I truly believe if Marquette sticks to the characters they know, their odds of winning quadruple.
Oh, yeah, their odds skyrocket, I think, if they can lock down some of those heroes. And I don't know, we'll have to wait and see here what the play is. Obviously, Marquette, no swaps this time around. Axe Hand will stay in. So, kind of similar to what happened last week. Zippy played control, Axe Hand in for the rest.
Yeah.
Just trying to get them some reps. And now RT, they're teasing the Doomfist. So why not? Throw in the Doomfist, get a little play on them as well to see if that's something that you can maybe use later on down the line. If, you know, Doom actually is back meta again, even though I have a feeling that won't be,
I would say he's not meta, but I think Doom gets value on maps where environmental kills are viable. Esperanza not one of those, so RIT bringing out certainly an unusual pick, a Symmetra as well, and I think they're running it because they would have swapped off by now. Marquette, they're sticking to the ball, they're sticking to the Soldier. I like the Soldier. I remember Axe Hand's May being really impressive. I'd like to see more of that. It would be very beneficial. Minky almost, nope, scratch. That does take down Axe Hand, but gives their Lucio for it. Not the trade you're excited about, unless you find just one more. Oh, poor Squid. Run, Squid. No! Oh! Runs right into the Doomfist, and that is absolutely the first fight coming to a close. RIT dominant lead here at the beginning of push. When Marquette watches this, we talk about this being a learning experience. I hope they've learned one thing. Wrecking Ball ain't it right now.
And again, it's the battle internally. Okay, do we play comfort picks?
Right.
Or do we play meta? And I think this is one where we'll have to wait and see, obviously, as time goes on, because it's hard, because they looked really great on this exact comp last week. But against what RIT is running, it's just not working currently. So, curious to see, you know, as this map develops, as the rest of the season goes on, what they plan on doing. As Foley is able to pick one up in the bag, even nice little Sim TP up to high ground as well. Royal Ranger gets hunted down in this bot. Is on a one-way ticket so far, already capturing Tick.
Oh, what an elim there. Axe Hand goes down super late into the fight. Royal Ranger obliterated as well, and Stomps tucking tail back to spawn. Wants to get back, trying to regroup with the team. That's a first point cap already for RIT, and unless the pace of play completely changes and flips on its head here, Salty, this map could be over in the next 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, it honestly could. Axe Hand now going over to the Pharah, so them and Squid trying to run that pharmacy combo, which honestly I like the call. There's no hit scan on RIT and not even a Diva on the other side to try and crack them in the air, and hey, that's the right start.
Yeah, Hog gets nerfed. We don't see him often, but that doesn't mean he can't be played in circumstances like this. Rail Ranger doesn't Swift Step, doesn't Suzu, gets taken out, and that is a real power player offline for Marquette. Not only do they lose those cooldowns, but they lose Kitsune as well. Overclocked from Reach, answered out by Skomo's Transcendence. RIT continues to lead forward there at triple digits, and we are hardly 3 minutes in. We are 2.5 minutes in right now. The record in the EGF right now is 3 minutes and 51 seconds, I believe, set by BGSU. It might even be 57. RIT set to shatter that at the pace of play they are bringing right now.
Yeah, I believe that was us.
It was us.
Yeah.
It was New Queen Street.
Yep, that's the reason why I'm like, God, that sounds so familiar. So we'll have to wait and see. The dream is alive for RIT to set that
Dude, they've
record.
got 50 seconds.
Foliage is down, though.
The beat dropped just a little too late. Minky trying to give a bit of an offstage presence, and I like the idea, but the dream might turn into a nightmare here unless Minky can stay alive without a lot of healing on board. 16 HP up to 50. Trying to look for a bit of a C9 maybe. I think it's a very intelligent play just to make the space a good off point, but perhaps I jinxed it, Salty. I don't know if we're going to be seeing it here. They've got to beat. It's like, it'd be like 6:07 would be left on the clock for that full cap, and it's only the DPS are left alive.
Oh,
Frost v Reach. If Frost wins this, no way. No way. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Come on. No way. Oh my goodness, okay, the recontest. I was like, dog, there's no way. Okay, the record should not be beaten here, I think. That's got to be enough. I don't think we're getting a turnaround fast enough. You almost did it, RIT, but that record stands strong. 142-0 here, but there is well over half of the game left for Marquette to try and turn this around.
You gotta think, hey, if they were able to push it that far in 3.5 minutes, there's a chance that you should be able to as well. So, we'll have to wait and see. Skomo is a late stagger as well. They should get, if they do get close spawn, just because of the bot getting stalled out. What tracking there from Foley?
Yeah, that was nuts.
Yeah, that was insane.
That was a really impressive track onto a Mercy nonetheless. Just as strong onto Accent. Foliage showing us why they are one of the strongest, scariest DPS here at the EGFC. A 3K on the board and the bot stolen back. very strong showing from this Tracer pick. Tracer, again, I hate to say there is a meta, because I really don't believe there is one, but Tracer is one of those characters we're going to be seeing a lot more often at that upper echelon. She's quick, she's slippery, she's difficult to kill, and she can pump damage out like nobody's business. So RIT sticking to it is something I think we're going to be seeing a lot of as they get further into the season.
Especially in these ball and dive comps,
yeah,
where a lot of it is finishing up a target that's engaged on. The Tracer's is so clinical at that, and as well as picking up those few little strengths.
Overclock takes out Skomo. Foliage gets a little bit of a trade. That was such a fascinating exchange, the concussion blast, but you're already hooked, so it pulled them all the way back around. Lives to tell the tale. It's a 2v1 they're supposed to lose, and they're just walking away with all the survivability on hand. Pumping out damage. There's like no Tracer damage fall off. I don't know. But Axe Hand, that's a 3k again. The Pharah really being a reasonable pick for the side of Marquette. And RIT, they're confident they can win it without a hit scan on hand. The Tracers handled it well enough many a time.
Exactly, and I at least like that, hey, we know that Marquette now can run the pharmacy, at least if Dabs' team is not running a hit scan currently. And now Skomo is like, yep, nope, Tank's not dying anytime soon.
Whole Hog online, Transcendent and Beat both commit, and Skomo still might go down. Whole Hog is 10 seconds now. No longer the 8 it used to be. Reach for no help taken out. Oh, that would have been sick, but Axe Hand just barely survives. Foliage gets the cleanup. 4 minutes remain. Marquette hasn't even been able to break close spawn, Salty. They are still at 0 meters.
And this is rough. I think they broke it momentarily a few fights ago, but it was obviously taken right back by RIT. And now the Tigers trying to move in for the kill here to finish off the series of a 3-0 sweep.
3-0 sweep, possibly 3 minutes and 40 seconds away. What a peel for this Zenyatta. Skomo lives to tell the tale, faces death, and laughs. This has got to be the final fight here, Salty. Every ultimate under the sun, including Photon, used. They're going to have Meteor Strike. I think just a close spawn door hold is exactly the call to make. Walks it in, and RIT with a 3-0 victory on the evening. Very impressive showing from them.
Extremely impressive showing from RIT. They move on to 6-5 Foliage. What can you say, man? Just so
Kid's a
good
beast
on the Tracer. And, okay, now I'm curious what we want to see from RIT the rest of the way. They play Bowling Green right here, same time slot next week. So I'm actually very intrigued to see how that one goes, because Bowling Green's another team that we've seen them at their best. We've seen them definitely at their worst. It's been trending towards the latter, sadly. But we'll kind of wait and see how they do in that matchup next week. I'm just looking at some of these next games. William and Mary, beginning of March, could be a very good game. Then Delaware right after that.
Oh my goodness.
They have back-to-back games pretty soon here at the beginning of March, to where I think that's when we'll truly see where this team is.
RIT feeling good, hopefully able to carry on throughout the rest of the season. But as we just learned, trial by fire ahead of them. We're going to throw it to a break, try to get an interview. We'll be back with that interview or a closer in just a couple of minutes. Find out which when we get back. What is going on, everybody? And just one more welcome back here at the EGFC. Sepulence and Twin Salty, joined by the tank, terrifying, whatever you choose to call him, Minky from Rochester, who just absolutely dominated the field tonight. So, Minky, my first question is certainly gonna highlight Esperanza. You guys bring out unconventional picks, right? You're on the Doom, we're seeing a Symmetra. Was that more in tow of confidence, or is that something we're really gonna be seeing from you guys down the line? Is this kind of off-kilter, unexpected character pick?
So our one of our DPS players referred to it as the new meta, and you might be seeing a little more of it. But if you think about it, it's actually really heavy ball counter.
Yeah, sure.
And we thought it would work, and we gave it a shot.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to put a little like point 2 question on here, because I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Doomfist is a character that post nerfs people have been playing on maps where environmental kills are still easy to get, because Doom can get those pretty free. So playing those on maps like Esperanza, where you're not seeing environmental kills often, what are you looking for as kill confirms when it's not as easy as just punching someone off the map?
So with their comp with the Pharah, I'm mainly looking to bait a little bit of damage to just get my power punch, and then hop on their Sojourn, which I tried to do a few times.
Sure.
And essentially going after the squishies that have exhausted their movement abilities to get out of like my big burst of damage is really what I'm looking for.
Yeah, perfect.
So obviously 6-5 on the season. It seems to be you guys have your good days and your bad days. How is the team kind of looked at this spring split to try and maybe have a more stable course?
Well, I'm new as of this semester.
Right.
I just started playing. But
dang, and they sent you right in for an interview too. That's crazy.
Yeah. But we've been practicing a lot. We've had some really good scrim time and really good coaches who help us out a lot, and it's been great coming in. And I have really been catching up here. I'm not initially a tank player.
Oh wow.
So I've been trying to put my all into learning here.
Well, you fooled us.
Yeah, fooled me for sure.
Yeah, I could not tell whatsoever. So I guess building on that, how are you looking at it? What are your goals with this team for this spring? Because obviously you're brand new, kind of getting to know everybody. What are your goals for what this team can do this semester?
I'm really trying to mainly just keep giving it my all. We had last week our match was canceled 2 weeks ago. We were going into Hawaii. I really sort of got the feel that, as I've stated, I'm not a tank player, but that I belong in this role in this team. And,
sure.
I've been trying to. I want to continue doing that. I want to continue bringing our team to victory and being the best tank that I can be.
That, out of my own curiosity, what role were you before you were a tank?
The damage player.
We have the exact same collegiate story. When I played collegiate, I was a DPS player, and then we needed a tank. I swapped tank. That's weird to hear someone else tell that story, and I've lived that story. But Minky, just one more question for you, man. We'll let you hit the road. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out or a thank you to just while you're here with us?
I'd like to give a shout out to all my teammates and my coaches. They've welcomed me very well into this team, and I'm looking forward to keep going.
Perfect. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us. Big congrats, and y'all are looking great. Hopefully we can talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Yeah, hopefully we'll talk about it.
And with that, folks, we are going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight at the EGFC. It was another wonderful week. We had some incredible series tonight. We saw the highest of highs, the lowest of lows, and everything in between. It really felt like we got the whole echelon of Overwatch. Thank you all so much for watching. Big shout out to all 6 teams for coming out, our friend and producer / observer Aeon for making all of this possible, and you all for watching. We love each and every one of you. Check your posture, drink some water, don't forget to love each other, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.